Good morning, everybody. Welcome to City Hall. Welcome to Council Chambers. And I'd like to welcome you to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Tuesday, August 3rd, 2004. The City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Meetings are open to the public, and we do invite you to join us. For members of the public unable to attend council meetings, we can be viewed live on your cable station, Channel 35. We can also be viewed live via webcast from the city's homepage or heard via council phone. Members of the council and members of the public, if I can call this meeting to order and maybe ask all of you to have a seat, please. Plenty of seating available. And if we can ask the conversations to quiet down just a bit. Thank you very much, sergeants, for your help. Members, it is just after 10:15 a.m. and we have 9 members present, one shy of a quorum. But before beginning with the meeting for today, this is Tuesday, and as is our custom, we have a flag salute scheduled. I'd like to welcome and ask to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance 2 very honored guests, Mr. Armando Hogan, President of the Los Angeles City Stentorians, along with Mr. Keith Cormier, Regional Director of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. Gentlemen, would you please do us the honors?
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I have you all stand, please? Place your hands over your heart. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll be hearing more from them in just a few minutes. But at this point, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Smith for a special presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I appreciate the opportunity today to make a presentation, although we normally do this on Friday, and I know we have a long agenda today, but I appreciate the opportunity today. I'm here to recognize Marcia Schwartz, who has done an extraordinary thing, and that is she served the people of Los Angeles for 33 years as a school teacher in the LA Unified School District, and that's truly a great accomplishment. She was a graduate from UCLA and got her special education credential from Cal State Northridge. She taught at Broadway Street School, where she began her career with LA Unified, was also a Cub Scout and Girl Scout leader. She taught special education and learning handicap at Oakdale Elementary School and taught at Superior Street School in the Northridge area. She spent 19 years at Nevada Street School, where she's taught learning and handicapped children from grades 2 through 5. She's also worked very hard at the school as a volunteer luncheon coordinator, the grade level chairperson, school site council, and success team. She's been a mentor for 10 years for new teachers and has truly been a great asset to the LA Unified School District, but more important to the people of Los Angeles. And anyone that gives 33 years of teaching our children is truly a great treasure and asset to the people of Los Angeles. And I wanted to recognize her on her leaving of the service of the students of Los Angeles, as this last month she retired from 33 years of great service to the people and children of Los Angeles. Thank you for your dedication and your service. Thank you. Stand over here and take a picture. You want to impart a word of wisdom before you leave? These are handicapped.
And the microphone is yours, our recipient.
Well, thank you very much for this. It's really, I don't feel like I deserve anything more than all the other teachers in Los Angeles have been working so hard. And I've enjoyed the 33 years, and I know I'm going to miss it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Our next presentation, Council President Alex Padilla, with the Heroes Firefighters.
Thank you, Councilmember Zion and colleagues, members of the public. I told you you'd be hearing more from these gentlemen in just a few minutes, and here they are. I'm joined by Councilmember Misikowski and I believe Councilmember Parks. Colleagues, we're here recognizing the 17th Biennial Convention of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. And the convention's theme this year is Facing Forward in Unity and Purpose. The association was formed in part to promote interracial progress through professional fire service and to ensure that competent African Americans were recruited and employed as firefighters, as well as had fair opportunities for advancement through the ranks of fire service throughout Los Angeles and throughout the country. This week's activities will be highlighted by a memorial march that will take place this Wednesday, where more than 400 firefighters from around the world will participate in a historic march to recognize firefighters who have given their lives in the line of duty. A memorial service will follow the march this Wednesday. The Stentorians, both of Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County, are the hosts of this year's convention, and they're also celebrating their 50th anniversary of their organizations. I'm joined by Councilmember Misikowski and Councilmember Parks, I believe, and then we'll hear from Mr. Armando Hogan, President of the Los Angeles City Centurions, and Mr. Keith Cormier, I believe, the regional director of the International Association. Ms. Misikowski.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. It gives me great pleasure, and it's an honor to stand here today with both our Stentorians from LA City and LA County and members of the International Association of the Black Professional Firefighters Association. These, as Alex has indicated, citywide have a 50-year history, at least in an organizational sense, of recognizing and honoring the profession of firefighters that we honor worldwide, and even more so today in terms of understanding how important our first responders are and how often we call on them literally in times of crisis, literally in times when we need them there to save lives. I think the City of Los Angeles is very proud to be chosen as the place where this week the convention is being held in the 11th District. I'm going to get by to some of their festivities. I hope that they will tell us a little bit about all the other things that are going on this week. But I'm also noting that we are joined here by Mr. Pat McCosker, the head of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles, to join in recognition of the importance of this group and what it does in terms of not only its professional pride, its professional dignity, but recognition of just the courage and honor and participation, not only in their profession, but throughout the community that these fine men and women provide to us, not only in the city, but in the state, in the country, and internationally. So I believe that Mr. Parks is going to say a few words as well, and then we'll hear from our firefighters.
Thank you very much. Certainly, I want to add my voice, and also thank you for coming to Los Angeles as the chair of the Budget Finance. We really appreciate those funds. Also, we appreciate that you're having one of your major events at Leimert Park in the heart of the 8th District, and we certainly are supportive of that. Having been in public safety for a number of years and having had a role in starting a couple of law enforcement organizations, I understand clearly the necessity of understanding that history of what you've come through. Also, growing up at 33rd and Central, one of the few fire stations at that time in which black firefighters could actually work. It also was a daily reminder of some of the issues that impacted this city and the struggle that you've gone through, not only locally, but nationally. And so I just want to commend you. I think it's important that we honor those who have fallen in the line of service and remember that history as we go forward and look to the future and make those accomplishments. So congratulations. We're pleased that you're here. We look forward to being at your mini event. Thank you.
Councilmember Perry.
I also wanted to say thank you so much for spreading the love and having your convention all over the city. And I'm pleased to be able to speak with your representatives Thursday night at our historic Fire Station 14, one of the home bases for the Stentorians, African-American firefighters. And I just hope that everyone who comes to this convention takes back to their hometowns what a wonderful place our city is and what an exciting place this city is, and in particular downtown Los Angeles with all of the new cultural institutions and Disney Hall and things to do down here and places to shop. So I hope that you have a really good time and take a good feeling back from Los Angeles.
Some words from our
And let me ask Mr. Cormier to please accept this commendation on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, welcoming you, and as Mr. Parks said, thanking you for contributing to our local economy by ways of the convention, and to please share a few words.
Very well, thank you.
We also have on the queue Councilmember Labange. Councilmember Labange, you want to speak after them? Or you want to speak now?
Well, first I want to say thank you. I feel very welcome here in the city of Los Angeles. And thank you to the City Council for giving us this proclamation. We are here for the week, and we will take advantage of all the benefits that LA has to offer. I want to thank you for giving the proclamation to the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters, but more specifically to our local affiliate chapter, who we are very proud of and who is a shining example throughout our international, the Stentorians here in Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County. So again, thank you for the proclamation.
Members of City Council, thank you so very much. As we address issues regarding diversity and inclusion, I just want to remind all of you that this is made possible through your assistance and support. And based on the current contract discussions and the budget ongoing, that's the least we can do is assist with the economy. So that's our contribution to that issue. But more importantly, I want to thank all of you and invite all of you to come out to the Memorial March tomorrow, as well as our event that we have Thursday night at the museum, 1401 Central Avenue. Please come out and enjoy. We look forward to a wonderful week of sharing and information gathering, and more importantly, bringing that back to LA and letting everybody know how progressive we are here. Thank you, one. I thank you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Labange.
Just wanted to thank you, Mr. President, Alex and Cindy. Firefighters, welcome again to Los Angeles. and you're going to have a great time. But if you get to Hollywood, make sure you visit the Hollywood Fire Station 27, where the Los Angeles City Fire Museum is. And if anyone's staying in town next week, it will be Smokey the Bear's 60th birthday. And one of my goals is to get Smokey a star on the Walk of Fame, because he's the longest-running public service announcement. It's the only you can prevent forest fires. Is Smokey has been a symbol for all of us in America. But want to thank black professional firefighters for their work, and then they're charged to get more young people, more men and women to join the fire service to work in our cities throughout this country. Thank you and welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you. And we all know Tom LaBonge is a firefighter at heart. Councilmember Weiss for introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'd like to introduce the folks who are here from the Oasis Group. If you could please rise so we could see all of you. Oasis is an educational organization. Thank you. It's great to have you here. Oasis is an educational organization for seniors. It offers enrichment programs offering mental and physical stimulation to seniors who have a desire to be active. The offices of Oasis are in the West Side Pavilion at Pico and Westwood, and we're just delighted that you're here. Enjoy your tour of City Hall. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruhl, Hahn, Labange, Ludlow, Misakowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, Weiss, Stein, Padilla, 12 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The council is officially in session. First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Weiss moves and Ms. Gruhl seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Misakowski moves and Mr. Reyes seconds.
Mr. President, this is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Okay, let's actually go through the agenda, dispense with consent items, and take a public comment after that.
First item on the agenda, there's a request to continue item number 45. Mr. Reyes is requesting that that matter be continued for 1 day to August 4th.
Members request to continue item 45 for 1 day. Seeing no objection, item 45 is continued. Next item, please.
Next items are items noticed for public hearings. Items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are hearings relative to various business improvement districts.
Okay, and we actually do have cards on items 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. We'll call those items special to hear from members of the public, leaving items 4 and 7 on the desk. Seeing no cards from members of the public on those items, public hearings are closed. Request for specials, Mr. Parks?
Number 20.
20, okay, we'll be there in a minute. Items 4 and 7 currently before us. If there's no requests for either of these items to be called special, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved.
And those matters will also be in council again tomorrow for the ballot tabulation and the ordinance.
Next item, please.
Next items are items 8, 9, and 10 are items, also public hearing items, and council should open the hearings and continue the hearing and ordinances to August 17th.
Okay. Members, items 8, 9, and 10 now before us, and I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. Public hearings are open, and without objection, continued to August 17th, 2 weeks from today. Next item.
Next items, I have 11 through 15 are street lighting districts. There are ordinances, and those are also public hearing items.
Okay. And again, I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. Public hearings are open and closed. Members wishing to be heard on items 11 through 15. Any specials? Seeing none, let's open the roll on those items. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Also, public hearing items 16 through 19 are annual confirmations of assistance for maintenance of sidewalks.
Okay, 16 through 19 now before us, and I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council. Public hearings are open and closed. Members wishing to call any of these items special? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
Item number 20 is a confirmation of building and safety assessment, and that's in Council District 8.
Okay, Mr. Parks calls that item special. Next item.
Next item, item number 21, is a public hearing item, and the applicant requests a continuance to September the 8th.
Okay, members, item 21 now before us, and there's a request to continue this item till September 8th. Without objection, item 21 is continued.
Next items, Mr. President, are items for which public hearings have been held, 22 through 49. There are commissioners, items 22 through 25. Do you wish to hold those on the desk?
Let's hold all commission appointments on the desk temporarily. Colleagues, items 22 through 49 now before us. Public hearings have been held on these items. A motion from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearings. Seeing no such motion, request for specials. Mr. Parks?
48 and 49, just ask that we move the Budget and Finance report.
Okay, motions on 48 and 49. Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Reyes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 40, special, please.
40, called special by Mr. Reyes. Any other specials? Items 26 through 49. Any other specials? Seeing none, on the balance of the items, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are approved. Item 45 has been continued to August 4th.
And excuse me, Mr. President, was that 48 and 49 were called special, or just the Budget and Finance Committee reports were moved for clarification?
Just a motion on by Mr. Parks.
Thank you. The next items are items for which public hearings have not been held, items 50 through 103. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, members, items 50 through 103 now before us. I have cards in items 52 and 70. We'll call those items special to hear from members of the public. On the balance of the items, I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council. Public hearings are open. Public hearings are closed. I'd like to take the prerogative of calling item 99 special to hear from the President of the Union. Mr. Reyes?
As Council President, on item number 40, we can just continue that to August 18th. We can dispense with that if we can.
Okay, we'll do that in just a second. Okay. Items 50 through 103 now before us. Items 52, 70, and 99 have been called special, and I have a request, members, to take item 99 out of order. On the balance of the items, there are no speaker cards. Public hearings are open. Public hearings are closed. Any additional specials? Mr. Parks?
70, 71.
70 and 71, call special by Mr. Parks. Any other specials?
And I believe there is an amending motion on item number 95. I understand it's in the process of being distributed to the council members.
Okay, let's hold that on the desk, 95 that is. And on the balance of the items, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, is 104, which is closed session. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
Let's hold all closed session items on the desk.
And I believe Mr. Reyes had a request on item number 40.
Right, to continue this matter until August
18th.
August 18th, which is 2 weeks and 1 day from today. Without objection, item 40 is continued. And at this point in time, colleagues, if you'd indulge me, let me ask that we take item 99 out of order and allow Mr. Arturo Rodriguez an opportunity to be heard on item 99.
Council President, item number 97, we can forthwith.
Forthwith on 97. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Unless
Good morning, members of the LA City Council. We want to thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to be here with you for a few moments this morning. And first of all, I just want to thank Father Richard Estrada, who's with us here today, and thank the students that have joined with us here from the UCLA Summer Discovery Program that are high school students from throughout the country, and the firefighters that are here with us today as well that are joined with us in this. We are very grateful for a few moments just to share with you what the workers at the largest winery in the United States are going through today, and that's at the Gallo Winery. Those workers have been fighting now for years to be able to get representation, to be able to get the opportunity to get benefits and receive the treatment, fair treatment, like any other group of farm workers in this nation. And right now, we're in a very serious struggle with that particular company. They have invested millions of dollars in redeveloping Sonoma County in order to change their image from what they used to be to a premium wine company here in the state of California, here throughout the nation. 75% of their workforce are hired by farm labor contractors. And as a result of that, the company has refused to recognize the rights of these workers. These workers live oftentimes in jammed housing conditions and miserable situations in makeshift hotels. The workers at the farm labor contractor, the work for the farm labor contractors, are not provided with any single type of benefit, which means that they don't receive vacations, they don't receive paid holidays, they don't receive seniority treatment, no benefits whatsoever. And in addition to that, the wages of those workers are far below what it takes to be able to live in the costly part of the state of California, there in the northern part on the coastal areas. So that as a result of that, we have developed and have initiated a campaign asking the company to sit down and bargain in good faith. One of the things that we've engaged in is that we've involved some new strategies, going to the internet. In the last 2.5 months, we've gotten 25,000 signatures of individuals and consumers that support the efforts of the Gallo farm workers to get a fair contract. In addition, today in the Santa Rosa Press-Democrat, there's a full-page ad that's being released also calling on Matt and Gino Gallo to bargain in good faith. And thirdly, in addition to all the work that the workers are doing, there is a Gallo Unfair website that's being initiated and released, and part of that website will feature the cartoon animation of Lalo Alcaraz, our very good friend and supporter, that talks about the unfair conditions there at Gallo. So we thank you very much for your support. We look forward to continue working with you in the future, and we know and we're very confident that this fight will be won by the workers fighting in the fields and all of our good supporters in the urban communities. It'll be a double whammy that really takes on the Corporation of Gallo. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez. We appreciate your words. I'd like to recognize Mr. Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, I stand and not only pledge my support for the resolution before us, but ask for yours as well. We have, over the years, the City of Los Angeles has over the years stood by the United Farm Workers and many other unions and organizations who are advocating for better treatment of workers around the country and around the world, for better wages and living conditions and working conditions as well. And over the years, we've seen the United Farm Workers specifically organize in a nonviolent manner, whether it was around a table grape strike, whether it was around lettuce, whether it was around strawberries. And here we are today, I hope joining them, standing side by side with them in their effort to negotiate a better contract for the workers at the Gallo of Sonoma winery. It's consistent with the principles and the values of the City of Los Angeles. And all we're asking for here, we're not negotiating here, all we're asking for is good faith bargaining and a contract that will treat the workers with the respect, give them the wages and benefits that we believe they deserve. Now, many people have asked, why is Los Angeles getting involved with this? Why is the Los Angeles City Council taking a position on this? There haven't been grapes grown in Los Angeles in quite a while, but it is part of our history, especially out in the San Fernando Valley. Agriculture is our history. And more than anything else, I'd like to remind us all that there is a direct connection between the food and the wine that we enjoy as consumers, between the food and the wine that is served in the City of Los Angeles and the workers in the fields in the Central Valley who cultivate it. The workers who tend to the crops, who work in the vineyards, who make that very food and wine that we get to consume and enjoy possible. And I think it's our moral responsibility to think about where that food and that wine comes from, and to ensure that the people who are making it possible are treated in a humane way and are afforded an opportunity to work and live with dignity. So, colleagues, I ask for your support of this resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Padilla. Our next speaker is Mr. Reyes, to be followed by Ms. Han, Mr. Cardenas, and Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, I just want to take a moment to thank the young people who are involved in this whole movement. For many folks, when they hear about Cesar Chavez, they think of a historic figure. When they look at the movement, they think about something that happened in the past. But the bottom line is happening right now, it's happening today. And the youth are going to make sure that we continue to hear those voices that tend to be unheard, that tend to be drowned out, that tend to be essentially ignored because it's passé. It's no longer in vogue. But the bottom line is to be able to feed your children, to be able to have a roof over your head is something that should be commonplace. And it's something we need to struggle for. And it's the energy of the young people that are going to promote that sense of respect and sense of responsibility we have as a society. So I want to thank you for being there. And just for those who are listening, I just want to echo our president of the council in that when the movement happens, it not only happens in the rural setting, but it's also happening in the urban setting. It's interconnected. So every time that person is eating that salad or drinking that wine at that very nice restaurant, you have to think about how it got there and at whose back did we break to get it there for your sense of luxury and taste. It was on the backs of workers who right now are being ignored. So I just want to thank the young people for reminding everyone that this is a human rights issue. It's not a fashion issue. It's not a Vogue issue. It's not something that happens because it's trendy. It's a human rights issue. So I want to thank you for doing that and reminding everyone that these struggles continue even today. Thank you.
Ms. Han.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I just rise and support this and want to thank my colleagues for bringing this to our city council level. And you're right, many people ask us sometimes, what is the city council of Los Angeles doing involved in some of these issues? But as my good friend Tom LaBonge says, there's 15 people in Los Angeles that have a microphone. And I'm one of them. And I want to use this microphone to stand up for what is right, to stand up what is the right thing to do. And particularly, it is nice to see the young people coming here today. And I want you to leave knowing that we do care and we do pay attention. And we do make the connection between what we eat and what we drink, and the people who are out there making that happen for us on a daily basis. And I want to use my microphone today to say that I was, as many people were, shocked to read in the paper today of the terrible conditions right now in the Central Valley in temperatures over 100 degrees, where these workers are getting only a few 10-minute breaks a day, a half-hour lunch, and sometimes not enough water to keep them hydrated in what is grueling work. So I want to use my microphone today, even before we talk about future contracts, future organizing, that right now we call on the corporations to give workers fair treatment in the fields today during the summer as they toil and labor under conditions that most of us would not be able to survive. So thank you for bringing this to our attention today. Thank you for bringing this to the City Council so we can do the right thing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank you, Arturo Rodriguez, for your the work that you do fighting on behalf of the hardest working people in this country and people who deserve dignity. One of the reasons why I think we need to have this forum here in Los Angeles is because people need to understand that the wine industry in California has exploded successfully, at least on the retail end of selling their products, not only here in California, but around the country and throughout the world. Yet at the same time, the workers still live in some of the worst conditions that you can imagine. Many of these workers work 60, 70 hours a week, and they live under freeway overpasses, under bridges, because they don't have housing, because they are not paid enough to even have a modicum of income so that they can provide for their families. And that is happening right here in Sonoma County, right here in California. I think it's very important that we have this forum and that we get the word out, that when you buy Gallo wine, you should consider whether or not they are treating their workers at least with the basic dignity that people deserve. And that's what the UFW does. The UFW negotiates for these individuals, for these individual workers, these hardworking people, so they can have health care benefits, so that they can have a basic income in which they can feed themselves and hopefully feed their families. I'm very, very proud to say that my parents came to this country with a first and second grade education and started off as farm workers, and they made it here to Los Angeles and made a living and raised their families in this great country. Everyone should have that opportunity. If someone comes here to work 60, 70 hours a week to do the kind of work that most people don't want to do, they deserve to have a life of basic dignity. And that's what this struggle is about. That's what the negotiations hopefully will begin tomorrow in earnest with the Gallo Company, the UFW, and the workers. That's all we're asking, is that they come to the table in good faith. The UFW is prepared to negotiate in good faith and get a modicum of respect for these workers that they deserve. And also, I'd like to thank the young people for coming out and supporting this cause and for understanding on an intellectual level what this means and what this is about. This is about basic dignity for human beings. It doesn't matter what color their skin. It doesn't matter what languages they do or don't speak. It's about treating people with dignity and with respect. And that's what you deserve when you're in this country. So thank you for coming. You're not old enough to drink wine, but you're old enough to spread the message that dignity for workers is paramount. Dignity for workers transcends any age, any gender, and they deserve that. So thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Mr. Cardenas. Before recognizing the speaker, let me once again ask the sergeants to help out here. We have a crowded chambers today, and the noise level can get up rather quickly. Mr. Verragosa.
Yes, Mr. President, members, it's exciting to see the young people in the chambers again. I remember being 15 years old and first working on the Great Boycott. And I can tell you back then, I had to make a tough decision. I was working at Safeway the next year, and I had to make a decision about whether or not I could continue to work there with all the picket signs in front of my store at 3rd and Bonnie Bray. And I chose to leave that market back then, and I did because I know that in many ways, this strike, and this new effort on your part is about making America keep its promise. To the idea that when you come here and you work and you play by the rules, that we should honor work. And that when you have a job, you should be able to live and make a living with that job. That health care is a right, not a privilege. And that what you are doing today is essentially reminding the owners of Gallo, but also all of the agricultural landowners, that we need to reward work, that we need to say to the people that are putting the food on our table, the people that are ensuring that all of us can feed our families, that they can feed their families as well. And that's what this is about. So to all the young people who are here, thank you for participating in this effort. Thank you for coming to the City Hall chambers to inform us and educate us of the need to stand with you, to walk alongside the people that feed our families, ensure that they could feed their families, that they have health care and decent working conditions. I stand here with you and in support of your effort.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President, and some of my colleagues have been quite eloquent this morning about the importance of this motion and the importance of standing up for workers' rights and the importance of the young people that are standing behind you and the lessons that they're learning from this experience. I wanted to stand up, and as Ms. Hahn mentioned, you know, the health care benefits for these workers, the right to organize are basic civil rights issues, basic issues for our workers. So I wanted to stand up and also thank you, Arturo, for all of your leadership and your willingness to, again, as we were talking earlier, to keep pounding on the door and telling people how important it is to fight for workers' rights. So thank you, and thank you to the young people behind you, and look forward to a unanimous vote today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, and I'll be brief because I think I'm the last speaker, but Artie and to all the students, thank you. I'm sorry I missed this morning. I had a previous engagement, but I would have been there, and I'm very proud to stand alongside you today in council. You know, as Councilmember Reyes said, a lot of people look at farm workers as something in our past, as history, but history is made every single day. And you're making history here today, and this is important for Los Angeles because we are part of one state, we are part of one system of democracy, and if we can't stand up for the rights of any workers one place, the workers in another place will be hurt and injured by that. So I stand beside you today. I hope that this gives you the impetus and that this spreads like a wildfire as well, that it's not just Los Angeles, but other cities around the country stand, so that when Gallo or any other company thinks that they can't negotiate in good faith, that they can't give you your basic democratic rights, that they know that there are many, many people watching. So if that helps you even a little bit today, we are proud to be alongside you, and thank you to all the students as well for being the next generation of activists. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Garcetti, I pushed my button before you said you thought you were the last speaker, not because you said that. But so many people have said so many wonderful things. It's great to see you here, and it's great to see the supporters you brought with you. I just want to make it very clear that the people that I represent in Los Angeles, the West Side and the southern portion of the San Fernando Valley, also stand with you in your fight, as they have for so many years, and as they will continue in the years to come. It's a real privilege to have you here today, and it's a real privilege to support this motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I too join my colleagues in supporting you in this endeavor. I know that if I go to a restaurant and there's a corkage charge, if I take my own wine in, $20 for a corkage charge. We know that the people who are in the farms who are doing that labor aren't making that. But a corkage charge of $20 just to open the bottle of wine for an individual who's consuming a meal at that restaurant, we know that's not fair. We know that the people who are out there laboring every single day deserve those basic essential needs. And that's what it's about. And when it looks at that sign, Gallo Unfair, we talk about the corporation that is making a lot of profit on the backs of the workers who are there trying to support themselves and their families. And we're talking about those basic elements that we all wish for, we all work for, part of the American dream, to have that basic standard of living and not have a substandard of living. And I've passed through many of the vineyards in my travels, and I've seen the people working in that blazing heat, doing that job, doing that service, so some people can enjoy the benefits of that labor. Those people who are doing that work need to be compensated fairly. So I support you in your endeavor. I know that there's been a long road to get to this point, and the road is not there yet. We haven't passed that final path, but hopefully that'll be soon with the support of this body, this elected officials who are here to help the people who are doing that work every single day. So congratulations to you and those young folks. We always strive to help our children to achieve success. And obviously what you're doing is helping the people in that environment so they can achieve some success and receive fair compensation and benefits, the health care, the fair compensation for the hard work that they do every day. And I see you have the President of Los Angeles City Firefighters, Pat McCusker. They're also supporting you. We know that people come together in time of crisis and need. The firefighters are there with you. I'm there with you. I'm sure my colleagues are there with you. So God bless you and wish you great success in this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, believe we're ready for a vote. Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, this is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Thank you very much. Keep us posted. This is now general public comment, an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on items within our jurisdiction but not appearing on today's agenda. The council calls forward at this time Ms. Bobby J. Tibbs, followed by Don Garza and Joyce Dillard. If you would all please come forward at this time. Ms. Bobby J. Tibbs. If you're here, now is your time. There you go. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm here this morning, and I'd like to say good morning to the council and the citizens representing the city of Los Angeles. I'm here this morning to speak on an issue that is most important to me. I am a resident of Central City East, and I'm speaking on behalf of the citizens of Central City East, particularly on the area of the corner of San Pedro and 5th Streets. And my issue today is that I'm wondering why we do not have a red line stop at the corners of 5th and San Pedro. And that is an important issue to me because there are children who are living in our community and they have to walk to 5th and Main Street in order to catch the red line. And there is a lot that goes down in that area that I don't think children should be exposed to. And my reasoning is that having a red line stop at the corner of 5th and San Pedro would eliminate the children being exposed to the things that are taking place as they walk down the streets of 5th, the street of 5th Street. And to me, this would eliminate the children being exposed to these things. Now, I understand that we had a feasibility report done on having a dash in that community, and it was found that it was not feasible to have the dash run along San Pedro. But my reasoning is that there are children who are being housed at the rescue missions, and the children shouldn't be exposed to the elements that are there. And by having a red line stop at the first main thoroughfare entering into the central city should be feasible.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me ask you to conclude, please, so we can hear from other speakers.
Pardon me?
Let me ask you to conclude so we can hear from other speakers as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Garza. Followed by Joyce Dillard, if you'd come forward
Well,
as
my
well.
name's Don Garza, and first off the bat, so that I can get the attention of the council, my neighbor, Ms. Bobby Tibbs, was here talking about an extension of the dash. There was a feasibility study that was done for us to have an extension of the dash. There are a lot of veterans that live in Skid Row in Central City East. The other night, I have a friend that lives over at the Rivers Hotel. It's 7th and Central. He got a staph infection, and he had to wait out there all night long for some sort of transportation to get him to a decent hospital, which he wanted to go to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. And I think it's very inappropriate that we're not allowed to have an extension of the dash, and the reasoning behind that was there's not a lot of population down there. A dash bus only costs $0.25. And like Ms. Bobby Tibbs said, she said that there are a lot of women with children down there. And I get on these buses, these MTA buses, and these women with their children, they're trying to get out of there, that are trying to go and seek services other places. It's very difficult for me to pull out $1.25, whereas all I can do, I could actually have the quarters in my pocket and pull out a quarter if I get in behind them, so that way they can have their kids go with them to do the social services. That's all we're asking for. I want to thank Ms. Perry. I want to thank Mr. Antonio Villaraigosa for getting that feasibility study put in. But I'm going to ask you, Mr. Antonio Villaraigosa, there is a dash bus that you got for Boyle Heights right after you got elected. And it hurts my feelings. It does hurt my feelings that when they did the feasibility study, that it came back and said it wasn't feasible for those of us in Central City East to have it. And you know what? I think I'm grateful for the fact that you did get one for Boyle Heights, because you didn't ignore them either. But I don't think you're going to ignore this. I think that Ms. Perry has an appeal, and I think that that appeal, if we work it hard enough, if we can organize the people down there, then maybe we could get our extension of our dash. All we're asking for is an extension of the dash, maybe a red line stop for the 720, because the 720 does go all the way to Westwood to the VA Medical Center
Let me
Clinic.
ask you to conclude, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
And to get your attention, I'm also going to say endorse my candidate for mayor. I endorse all challengers and all incumbents because I happen to be the
Thank
town
you.
crier.
Thank you very much. Ms. Joyce Dillard?
Yes, I wish to speak on item 27, which was passed without comment today, even though there was a hearing in the afternoon at committee. And I'm going to read the letter I submitted to Honorable President Padilla and councilmen.
Okay.
Members,
Whatever
is-
you can get in 2 minutes.
The establishment of Lincoln Heights Historical Preservation Overlay Zone will deny the property rights afforded by the United States Constitution. Of the 1,018 properties in the survey, only 324, or 32%, qualify as contributor. That means a balance of 68% do not. But it is clear the majority is not being represented. No vote has been taken by the taxpayers to allow such violation and, in essence, increased taxation due to fees, permits, and hearings. Very few properties are zoned R1-1. How was the HPOZ determined? Did a registered voter request that all these properties be included? Most of the properties, as you can see, and I have a little analysis there that some of you may have, on the enclosed analysis by street are zoned RD2-1 or RD3-1, which means they're now rentals. The area is a poverty area qualifying for community development block grant monies and California tax credit allocation. Is the move to make the area a historic preservation overlay zone meant to benefit the developer, not the property owners? This HPOZ needs to be reevaluated on a street-by-street basis, and now you've passed it, so you don't care. And with the support and consent of the property owners involved. The livable square footage, which is on the analysis, as you can see on the analysis, is substandard. This is a deliberate attempt to keep the area in poverty and keep the money supply for federal and state poverty programs. And I may add, we understand USC is out looking in our area.
Thank you very much. This concludes general public comment for today's meeting. Madam Clerk, I believe we should take up the commission appointments next. And sergeants, I'm going to ask you for, I believe, the third time. We really need your help in keeping it quiet in chambers here. Council members, if your staff is behind you and they don't need to be, or if there's conversations going on behind the horseshoe that can take place in the back hall, please move them out. Madam Clerk?
Item number 22 is Budget and Finance Committee report and recommending confirmation Ms. Peggy J. Moore to the Board of Fire and Police Pension Commissioners.
If Ms. Moore is here, please come forward. There you are. And colleagues, we do have a committee report recommending confirmation of Ms. Moore. Are there members of the council wishing to be heard on item 22? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service to the city. Forthwith on item 22, please. Next item.
Item number 23 is a Housing Community Economic Development Committee report, and the nominee is Christiane F. Kearns to the LA Homeless Services Authority.
Okay, welcome, Ms. Kearns. Colleagues, again, we have a committee report recommending approval on item 23. Is there any member of the council wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations.
Item number 24.
Forthwith as well. Next item.
Item number 24 is a Housing Community Economic Development Committee report recommending approval of Mr. Daniel Grisman to the Rent Adjustment Commission.
Okay, please come forward at this time. Members of the council wishing to be heard on item 24. Once again, we have a committee report recommending confirmation. Mr. Weiss.
I just want to take a second or two to do my best to embarrass Mr. Grisman. I think it's great that you've been appointed to this commission, and I think it is you're going to do a good job here, and you're going to provide good, fair service to the renters of this city. But I do view this, frankly, as just a first step in what is going to be a long series of public commitments and public opportunities for you, because you are someone who just, I know personally, who's burning to do public service, and I think it's great for the city of LA that you're going to get your start here today, but I view it as just that, just a start, because I know you're going to be well on your way to do bigger things in the months and years ahead. Thank you, Mr. Grisman, for agreeing to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Other members of the council wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Forthwith, please, on item 24. Next item.
Item number 25 is Personnel Committee Report recommending approval. Ms. Helen I. Torres to the Commission on the Status of Women.
Welcome, Ms. Torres. Members, again, we have a committee report recommending confirmation. Members of the council wishing to be heard on item 25. Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We met, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Time flies.
It does.
I knew it would be a few more days before you came before the council. If you can just briefly explain your qualification. I know we endorsed your appointment to this very important commission, because I was very impressed with your background, your history. If you could just give our audience at home and my colleagues a glimpse of your previous history.
Perfect. Thank you for this opportunity. As stated, my name is Helen Iris Torres. I'm the Executive Director of HOPE, which stands for Hispanas Organized for Political Equality. We're a 501c3 that promotes a nonpartisan agenda to support the leadership and advocacy of Latinas across the state. I come to you before you as someone that's experienced running a statewide organization that brings women's issues to the forefront with a state agenda, but I also come to you as a resident of the city of Los Angeles with a background in public relations and community activism. And my hope is that in my role to really bring more outreach and publicity to the status of the Commission on the Status of Women.
Thank you, and I know that that public relations is a very important component to make sure that people of Los Angeles understand the importance of what work they do to help all females in our beautiful city of Los Angeles. So I wish you well in that endeavor. I know you're going to join a great group of people who are all trying to do what they can to turn the attitudes in a positive direction and to help the Commission on Status of Women achieve further goals and future goals and aspirations for all women of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Council Member.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Council President. Helen, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for once again donating your precious time to the community of Los Angeles and especially to the women of Los Angeles.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you a question. Just a few months ago, right here in these chambers, I was defending and we were successful in restoring some of the cuts that were going to happen to the Commission on the Status of Women. What do you foresee that the Commission will be able to engage in and make a difference on in the coming months?
A couple of things. First of all, I'm a firm believer that people need to know what the good work of the Commission is doing, and very much in line with what Councilmember Zine was speaking to. Working with some of the commissioners, one of our commissioners is right here right now, we're talking about some public events with each of you in your various districts to bring more attention to what the Commission's doing in the various councils, specifically around young women. There's a lot of good work being done around our programming about keeping young women out of harm's way, as well as not providing a safe environment for them. So that's one thing. I think the other thing is really working out in the community at large. I think the Commission is well known within these city council chambers, but the charge is really to get that good work known in a broader sense. And that's going to take a lot of good volunteer efforts, knowing the current fiscal budget that we have.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. It's good for us to remind the constituents of Los Angeles the good work that the Commission of Status of Women is doing, but more importantly, the work that needs to be done. We're not doing enough, and we need to make sure that we keep this commission alive and that we have good people like yourself donating their time so we can be efficient and effective in getting the word out. And one thing that I'm glad that you pointed out, that the Commission on the Status of Women just isn't about women. It really is about families. It really is about the young girls at very early ages for them to start to understand their role and their rights and the respect that they deserve in the community. So thank you so much for your commitment, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, council member.
Thank you, Mr. Cardenas. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Forthwith, on item 25, please. Next item.
Item number 1 was called special for cards from the public.
Item number 1 now before us, and the council calls forward Sophie Miller, followed by Duke Dulgarian, Alexander Gomez, Stephen Stone, Michael Abasso, and Steve Gibson. If you'd form a line behind the podium, we'd appreciate it. It would expedite this public comment period for item number 1. Please come forward and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Steve Stone
Okay.
with Trigents Acme Feltworks. We own business and property in the what's now called the Goodyear Industrial Track, and we have a bid proposal out in front of us. I'd just like to say, number one, I'm for passing of this bid. I've been involved in the Goodyear Track since 1975. It's been a very difficult area. I've never seen much be accomplished in that area, and within the last year, as we're setting this bid project up, I've already started to see a downward spiral of dumping, graffiti, crime. We have armed security that's available to us that we can call. They come right away, and we know that the LAPD is taxed and overburdened. That system does work, and there's other good things going to happen within this. And as a approximate 2% owner within the Goodyear Track, I fully support it.
Thank you very much. We have 5 other speakers. If you all want to speak, or if you want to designate a spokesperson, introduce yourself, please.
My name is Duke Dolgarian. I'm a third-generation property owner and business owner in the Goodyear Track. We've been there since the buildings were brand new. We've seen the properties deteriorate over the years, mainly due to crime, graffiti, illegal dumping. And we're fully in favor of the Business Improvement District. So far, it's already produced results, and we look forward to its passage. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Council. My name is Mike Labasso. I'm a business owner in the Goodyear Track. I think we can all agree that crime, dumping, graffiti is a problem in our area. The owners have put together a plan to help alleviate some of these things via security, camera systems. I feel it's a good deterrent. It's a small price to pay, and our company is in favor of moving forward with the bid. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. My name is Sophia Miller, and we own Plastipan, which is also within the Goodyear Tract. I am pro-bid. We have seen a lot of cooperation between the security officers and the police. Initially, I was worried about that, but it really has worked brilliantly. They hold people, and the police come and get them as soon as they can. And we've definitely seen less of all the things previously described, including exploding cars. We used to have a lot of cars set on fire on my street. Our plant runs 24/7. It was very frightening to see those things happening. We have not seen a single case of that since this has been in place. The security guards are very professional, and I support the bid. Thank you.
Steve Gibson, Urban Place Consulting Group. I'm the consultant that organized the bid for the property owners. Just quickly, this is one of the first examples, if not the first, of a business improvement district in an industrial area in the city of Los Angeles, but there are several models nationwide, and I think this is a good example that can be replicated in other parts of the city of Los Angeles to take the business district and use it more in an industrial district for the same purposes. And so urge your strong support for this. Thank you.
Next speaker. Is that it? Okay. I also have a late card from Stanley Kramer, if Mr. Kramer is here.
Yes, I own several. My name is Stanley Kramer, and I own property on Slauson Avenue and on East 61st Street in the proposed district area. I have owned property there for the last 30 years, and this proposed business improvement district has been opposed by the landowners for almost 7 or 8 years now. In the length of the time that it has been trying to get passed, there is still strong opposition. In spite of what you may have heard this evening, this plan is not doing the job that it was supposed to do. I am basically broken into, and I can prove it with police reports that I file almost every night, where I am still being burglarized. This plan is not good for the area. It will not be good for the businessmen. This area is comprised mostly of small businessmen who are struggling on a day-to-day basis just to get by. This will raise their cost of doing business tremendously, and this will be a bad thing, and many people will lose their jobs if this amendment is to pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes public comment for item number 1. Let me recognize Councilmember Perry, unless we want to hear a staff report first.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate you giving me the time to speak. I am very pleased that we have reached this day in this process to establish this business improvement district for the Goodyear Tract. The conversation and the process to establish this business improvement district has been going on since I was a staff person in this council district to the previous council member. It's gone on far too long, but I guess that's what it had to be to reach this day, to build a majority of consensus on the importance and the significance of this. This is a major tract of land surrounded by a residential community. It is a major location, or a prime location, for employment opportunities in South Los Angeles. It is a major location for economic development. This business improvement district will go a long way to raise the quality of life and the ability to do business within not only the business district, but also the impacts that this industrial park has on the surrounding residential community. It will bring better lighting, more security, better infrastructure. It should go a long way to discourage the massive amounts of illegal dumping that the city has never been able to keep up with, as hard as we try, and should be able to create a stronger, more interconnected community, not only within the tract, but within the surrounding residential area. So I'm pleased that after many, many, many years of conversation and struggle, we have reached this day, and look forward to the presentation by our city clerk on the amount of support within the development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Do you wish to add anything, Mr. Carey?
No, we'll have the results of the balloting on tomorrow's agenda.
Okay. And action for us today?
Close the public hearing and wait for tomorrow.
Okay. Without objection, so ordered. Next item, please.
Next item is item number 2, and that was call special for cards from the public.
Okay, item number 2 now before us. Mr. Carey, stay put. The council calls forward June Eve by Ann Martillon, David K. Robinson, Robert Bush, Kaveh Samsami, Michael Pfeiffer, Bing Cherry, Ed Marzek, Steve Gibson, Martha Saucedo. Any and all of the above, please form a line at the podium, please. And introduce yourself when you speak.
I'm David K. Robinson. I'm an attorney at law of counsel with the firm of Hahn & Hahn in Pasadena, where I was a partner for many years. I represent F. Everding McLeese, who owns the properties at 400 to 414 West Pico Boulevard and 1317 South Grand. And she and our tenants there are very much opposed to the establishment of this bid district. We do not think it is necessary. We've notified all of our tenants and our properties are all fully rented, and we do not think that this bid district is needed here. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. President and the council. I am Ann Martyan. I am speaking on behalf, I am a private property owner on the South Park District. I was very active before when this was in action, but since 2 years, I have not heard a thing. I was not notified of any meetings or public-private owned landlords regarding the South Park bid assessment. I never received any notifications sent out to any of us, especially the ones that were in opposition to the proposed tax increase for the new service. Number 3, the bid package was mailed on June 18. However, the material inside was dated April 28. This gave us less than 31 days to look this over. And especially, it brought us to the summer vacation. I had 4 questions, and as I did, I turned to the back of the paper and called the city attorney, Rick Scott, and he was not able to answer my questions. He turned me over to the city engineer, Dennis, and he was not able to answer my questions.
If I can ask you to conclude, please, so we can hear from other speakers.
Pardon me?
If you may conclude, so we can hear from other speakers.
Okay. The thing is, I'm against the bid at the present time. This is not like downtown, the sports, the South Park area. We do not have people walking on the streets. The businesses that we have, I have tenants that are paying $500 and $700. They are mostly Latinos, and I don't like to push them out of the business because it's sad. I've had them for many years, and if I raise the rent, I know they're going to move.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We have a long line waiting behind you.
Okay, I have June Eve's report. Unfortunately, her husband is being operated this morning, and she sent me her report.
Okay.
South Park Stakeholders Institute bid. And
Now, if
almost,
you want to submit that in writing, we'd be glad to share it with all the council members.
pardon me?
If you want to submit that letter, we'll be happy to share it with all the council members. But
Okay.
I do need to get to the next speaker.
Okay, well, can I?
Yes, Sergeant will take that from you. Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Bob Bush. I'm with Los Angeles Car Wash Corporation. I had some notes, but I don't have my glasses, so I'm not going to be able to read them too well. The real need for the thanks. I don't know whether that'll help slightly. We have a business in a area that they're proposing to start a bid. The real need of the bid doesn't seem to equate to the financial hardships that it's going to cause a lot of the small businesses in the bid. We have the services that we pay for as a result of the taxes that we are already pay for property, seem to take care of the safety needs. We take care of our sidewalks. So the need doesn't really equate to the value that we perceive to receive. This bid was formed more or less under the radar because we weren't invited to put input into it or determine how the taxation would flow down to the tax owners. It was being taxed under square footage of the lot, the front footage of the lot as opposed to the improvements of the lot. But we have tenants that will absorb a portion of the taxes, and it's just a tax that they can't absorb. Ask Steve LaBella or Fernando from Fernando's or Elvie from Elvie's Photoshop. When we tell them that their taxes are going to increase 20 to 25%, they say it's liable to break their back and put them out of business. I don't think that's what the council wants to do. And I ask the council to reconsider the real need for this, because the need in our mind is not there. To have people on the sidewalk, sweeping the sidewalks, we don't need that. We have bicycle patrols, we have no safety problems there, and that seems to be the main impact of it. So we would like you to reconsider the need in an area that doesn't need another bid. This is just
All right,
not
could I ask
right.
you to conclude? Thank you. The next speaker will be Kaveh Samsami, who will be followed by Michael Pfeiffer.
Thank you, council members. My name is Kaveh Samsami, representing the Community Redevelopment Agency with the City of Los Angeles. We are property owners in the South Park area and also have several projects, including a recreation center and a park, in attempts to revitalize that neighborhood. Just like to say that we are in strong support of the bid. We feel that it will complement CRLA's activities to the utmost and help in raising the quality of life for that neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Pfeiffer, followed by Bing Cherry.
Good morning. I'm Mike Pfeiffer. I'm the Executive Director of South Park Stakeholders Group. We're the nonprofit association that's been coordinating the formation process, working with the city on the South Park bid. And looking back over the past 4 years that we've been working on this bid, I'm amazed at how much time and effort it's taken us to get to where we are today. Considering that we've sent out thousands of meeting notices, petitions, twice went proposed management plans to property owners, we've received a great deal of mail and coordinated telephone calls on this project. We began our meetings with property owners as early as April 2000, with regular progress reports to the monthly meetings of the South Park Neighborhood Business Watch, and from time to time, even the monthly meetings of the LAPD Central Area Police Advisory Board. Our bid project has also received press coverage in the Downtown News and the Los Angeles Garment newspaper, and we've responded quickly to speak to various organizations regarding our progress, as well as meet with individual property owners. In fact, I'm very pleased to say we're already hearing from property owners who are outside of the proposed bid areas who want to be added to the bid as soon as possible. They're very interested in receiving the proposed services of the bid. We look forward to working with the city to ensure our community is as safe and clean as possible. Thank you very much.
The next speaker will be Bing Cherry, followed by Ed Marzek.
I'm Bing Cherry, Associate Vice President for Planning at USC. The Figueroa Corridor is currently served by two very good improvement districts, Downtown Center and the Figueroa Corridor Partnership. There is a large gap in the corridor in South Park. USC has a large number of students. We lease properties downtown, and we believe that the establishment of the South Park bid will complement the other districts. We encourage you to approve it.
Thank you. The final three speakers will be Ed Marzek, Steve Gibson, and Martha Saucedo.
I don't think Ed Marzek is here. My name is Martha Saucedo. I'm the Director of Community Affairs for Anschutz Entertainment Group, and I'm here to support and encourage the approval of the South Park Business Improvement District. The bid will serve a critical role in the continued development of South Park and send a strong message that property owners care about safety and maintenance of the community. The services the bid will provide will improve the quality of life in the overall community, not just for businesses. Residents will also benefit from the presence of bicycle patrols and increased maintenance efforts, such as graffiti removal and sidewalk sweeping. With the increased residential development and future retail development, a bid will support the growth of the area while maintaining the integrity and safety of the existing community. For these reasons, Anschutz Entertainment Group strongly encourages your support of the bid. Thank you.
My name is Cliff Hoffman. I'm president of California Hospital Medical Center Foundation. Just here in support of the bid. We have been in this same location for 117 years, and we occupy 2 city blocks right in the heart of South Park. We employ 1,500 employees and have 487 on our medical staff, so we're stakeholders in our community, and this has been long overlooked, and we're pleased that it's here, and we're in entire support. Thank you.
Again, Steve Gibson, Urban Place Consulting Group, the consultant working with the property owners in South Park. I've been the consultant that's organized the Figueroa Corridor bid to the south, the Fashion District bid to the east, and the Downtown Center bid to the north. The area of South Park is completely surrounded by business improvement districts, and you can see the dramatic difference between where there's a business improvement district and South Park, which has kind of become the collecting ground for all of the behaviors and the things that we don't want to have in our downtown. So I strongly urge you to establish the business improvement district in South Park and make it competitive with its surrounding neighbors. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but you cut me short. I just have 40 property owners or tenants that signed against the petition, and I would like to hand this to...
Well, the sergeant will take that and make sure it's made part of the record. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry that
All
I
right.
came back, but I was cut short.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have that to distribute. That concludes the public hearing on this particular bid. Let me recognize Councilmember Perry.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I would also like to rise to give my endorsement and strong support for the creation of this business improvement district. Each district has its own personality and its own unique characteristics, and this process has been always forward-moving, forward-thinking, and I look forward to the final resolution of this and hope for a very positive outcome, but want the public to know that this is a good thing. And as South Park changes by the day in terms of new development and are addressing the social issues as well, I expect that the Business Improvement District will play an invaluable part in creating a community in the South Park area.
All right, members, we've heard the recommendation from the council member of the district and concluded the hearing. The matter is now before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That matter is approved.
And the ballot tabulation will be on the agenda tomorrow.
All right, we will have that again tomorrow.
Item number 3 was called special for cards from the public.
All right, this is also a protest hearing on the Toy District Property and Business Improvement District. This one is a renewal. We have about 5 cards. Let me call the people forward at this time. Roy Imazu, Charlie Wu, Howard Klein, Michael Tanzi, and Larry Roush. Please come forward.
Good morning, members of the City Council. My name is Roy Mazu. I represent the Southern California Gardens Federation, located at 333 South San Pedro Street. And before I get into my opinion here, it's my understanding that for purposes of energy conservation, thermostats for cooling should be set at 78 degrees. And I would say that thermostats set about 50 in here. Our property parking lot abuts Boyd Street, and any working day looking out towards Boyd Street, there's a tremendous amount of trash, all kind of cardboard, pieces of paper, styrofoam. And it seems to me that there are laws covering littering, and it would seem like if the littering laws were enforced, business owners would not have to be forced to pay to clean up somebody else's mess. And I think each business owner should be responsible for cleaning up their own mess. Thank you.
The remainder of the speakers, I believe, are all for the proposal. If you want to address this briefly.
Good morning. My name is Charlie Wu. I'm a business owner in the Toy District. Our family has been investing in that area for 25 years. We have seen great improvement. It's a thriving business community. But just like the other gentleman said, a lot more need to be done. And hopefully through the bid, we will be able to achieve that. On behalf of the property owner here, that I'd like to thank you for your support and look forward to consideration and cooperation through the bid process. Again, thank you very much.
No one else wishes to speak, so that will now close the public hearing on this. I don't know, Ms. Perry, if you wanted to speak on this one. It's also on CD9, but if not, I believe it is a renewal that is in front of us. Let's open the roll, close the roll, Tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
That is approved.
And the ballot tabulation will also be on tomorrow's
All right,
agenda.
we will hear from the city clerk tomorrow.
Item number 5 was called special, 4 cards from the public.
All right, this is also a Business Improvement District protest hearing for the Hollywood Media Property and Business Improvement District. We have a number of cards submitted. Let me call forward Debbie Wiebe, Eliza Thorne, Jim McQuiston to start. Is Deborah Wiebe here on this matter? Eliza Thorne, Jim McQuiston. Please come forward, anyone who's here. Ben Resnick, Alan Weinstock, Mary Lou Dudas.
Good morning, members of the council. My name is Alan Weinstock. I'm the managing director of Chotner and Gumbiner Realty, who owns the post office called the Wilcox Station at 6457 Santa Monica Boulevard. These are an elderly couple that have leased this building to the post office till the year 2012 at an annual rental of $18,200. The property taxes on this property amount to $5,000 a year, and they've owned the property since they built it in 1962. This assessment would require them to pay money out of their pocket in order to be a part of the bid, and it extends no benefit to this property. City Council, in its wisdom, exempted this property from the BID 5 years ago, and we have received no complaints as to cleanliness or anything else regarding this post office property for the last 5 years. The amount of funds assessed is insignificant to the total BID, and we are objecting to this renewal.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the council. My name is Ben Resnick with Jeffrey Mangels, Butler, and Marlboro, and I'm here representing the property owner with the U.S. Post Office is situated on. This is a unique situation, and we're asking you once again to exempt it like you did 5 years ago from the bid. And the reason we believe you can make this finding very specific to the post office in this location is because the engineer's report, which justifies these special benefits to each property, says, quote, it's to provide special benefits in the form of increased rental occupancy rates and annual revenue incomes to the real property within the district, end quote. This finding does not apply to the U.S. Post Office site because, as you've just heard, this post office sits there at $18,000 a year, and the owners basically have less than $2,000 spendable. The assessment is $2,700. They'll be coming out of pocket. But the post office has the right also to purchase this property in 2012 for $150,000. That's unheard of because the lease was signed in 1962. So we have a situation where you have the only post office in the area, which is a public benefit, certainly. We have a situation where the elderly couple who's built it and owned it never anticipated this happening. We cannot pass the cost along to the post office. We've tried that. They're preempted by federal law. You can't tax them or assess them. So we're asking you once again to just exclude this piece of property. It's $2,700 assessment out of over $1 million. It won't impact anyone as you did 5 years ago. And the late request is only because the notice on this went to the post office, not to our client. Our client, that's the record owner, only received it a couple of weeks ago, and that's why we have a late request for you. Thank you. Please consider this request.
All right, one speaker, Mr. McQuiston, had submitted a card opposed to the proposal. Let me recognize Mr. McQuiston.
Jim McQuiston, East Hollywood Community Association usually, but I'm actually a property owner in this business improvement district that is expanding. We're not in it right now because we chose not to. The interesting thing about this business improvement district is it's a restricted manufacturing area. The post office is about the only exception to that. We don't believe that this has been organized properly. You notice that the people just objected to the post office being included. There wasn't really a good rapport between the property owners on this particular bid and the services that will be required or given to these property owners really doesn't fit the bill. It's passé. The area is more or less holding its own, and it's under attack by commercial interests. Some time ago, we got a restricted manufacturing zone to try to keep Hollywood in Hollywood. We're down to a very, very small amount now, and the commercial interests are driving us nuts. And that's where all of this money goes to, is to satisfy the commercial interests, not the factory people. We are very, very concerned about this. But we're also concerned, I talked to the city clerk about this, they haven't gotten a lot of these back, the ballots. They say that they all went out to people and they must have been received. We sent mailing out to the exact same mailing list, and we got over 15% of those returned by the post office. And one of the fellows that I talked to said that they hadn't been at that address for 2 years. Now, this is a pretty serious
Jim,
problem.
can I ask you to sum up?
And we think that it really demands the council to look into this before we proceed with this particular bid.
Thank you. The following 9 speakers all submitted cards in support. I will call your names. You can come forward if you would like to speak. Debbie Webby, Eliza Thorne, Mary Lou Dudas, Eric Stillwell, Devin Strecker, Cliff Hoffman, Ken Nakano, Vincent Aguirre, and Robert Swift.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to address the council. My name is Debbie Waby, and I am the president of the Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council and a lifelong resident of the Hollywood area. I am here in support of the renewal of the media bid. There has been tremendous collaboration between this bid, the Neighborhood Council, and the community at large. And that collaboration has enhanced the quality of life for everyone in this area. This is a bid that has a social conscience. This bid supports youth programs in our area, it supports our local schools, it reaches out to the residents, it makes a positive connection. Their cleaning program and their safety patrols in their area actually impact not just the bid area, but that effect, that positive effect, reaches out to the rest of the community. So I would strongly urge that you support the renewal of this bid. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
I'm Eliza Thorne. I have owned Seward Film and Tape Vaults. It's a climate-controlled storage facility for about 25 years. I have seen incredible difference since this bid was formed in the look of the area. We have 300 to 400 trees. We have a fabulous 2-person staff who work long hours, full-time, to keep us going in the directions that all of the citizens and stakeholders wish us to go. So I strongly urge your support. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Robert Swift. I'm the Executive Vice President, Friar Mountain Film and Sound Archives. As a property owner and employer in this bid, we are in strong support of it. So we hope that you will support it also. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Officer Vincent Aguirre with Los Angeles Police Department and Hollywood Division, and I'm just here to support the bid renewal because, number one, it's the partnership that has been fused together since the bid has come to Hollywood. It has seen great numbers decrease in the crime in the area, and I tell you, it's a lot better place to walk. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eric Stillwell. I'm Vice President of Operations for a small family-owned TV production company in Hollywood. Currently, our business is not in the current bid, but will be part of the new bid. We're located now between Highland and La Brea, trapped between the bid and West Hollywood in no man's land. And we're very much looking forward to being part of the bid because we've seen the vast improvements and benefits that have come not only to the look of the neighborhood, but the security of the neighborhood. And I strongly urge the support of the council for approving this bid. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mary Lou Dudas. I'm the Executive Director of the Hollywood Media District. And just so you understand, we did have over 18 public meetings, sent out literally thousands of flyers and notices for folks to participate in the stakeholders group. And we sent out a survey in the very beginning to find out how, kind of what a grade we got for the work we've been doing. And 90% of our stakeholders told us that our district, the appearance is better. 88% said the district is cleaner. 5% said the image is improved. 72% said the district is perceived as being safer, and 63% said the district really is safer. And they gave us an overall grade of a B, so we do have room for improvement.
our steering committee worked really hard with the stakeholders, and we were able in some cases to decrease the assessment by 25 to 50%. So they really took a hard look at the budget. We reduced the administrative budget by $100,000 and the community improvement budget by $75,000, plus we expanded for 12 blocks. The proudest fact that I can tell you about is that of the petitions that we sent out, which is the first phase of renewing a business improvement district, and I brought my book to show you all, is that of the 105 petitions we received, 68 of those folks are .025. They're the smallest property owners. So a lot of folks think that the big property owners always carry the day and kind of jam the BID down the little folks' throats, and it's just not the case. So we had a great response from the little guys. Thank you.
Thank you. If no one else wishes to speak, we will conclude and close the public hearing on this bid. And let me recognize Mr. Labange.
Thank you, members. And I don't know if you have a chance to be through this part of Los Angeles and Hollywood. I want to thank Mary Lou Dudas. Mary Lou, I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank the board. Debbie, not just double duty Debbie, I'm going to call you, because not only this bid, but also in the neighborhood council, and Officer Geary and the others who've been down here. If a police officer in Los Angeles tells you it's a better neighborhood because of this commitment that people made to the bid, because of the leadership of the city clerk's office in providing this opportunity, because of our council support on it, that makes a lot of sense. And this part of Hollywood and this handout that they've produced that talks about it. One of the things I like the most, because I'm partial to palm trees, is the work you've done on Highland as far as a gateway into Hollywood, which is so important in that. And the other issue that I think is important is that how they organize and clean up the neighborhood. Clean up the neighborhood that sometimes gets dumped on. Members in industrial neighborhoods, often people do abandon couches and just come in the area and drop their loads instead of going to a proper resource. They drop them right in these neighborhoods, and it scars the neighborhood. This bid has been very proactive. And Mr. Garcetti, there's a lot we could say about the great work that Mr. Garcetti has done in downtown Hollywood, but here in the media business district of Hollywood, the support for the Hollywood industry, they've really done a champion cause. I just want to thank them. I do have one question, though, for Mr. Carey, our city clerk. The gentleman representing the post office property owner. I like to be fair. Now, he said a previous city council exempted that particular parcel. But then I understand that we're paying our parcels. We own there's a public works yard, there's a park yard, I don't think, there's a park, excuse me, a ball field, the Cole Playground. LA Unified has property. Are these other entities paying?
Yes, Mr. Labange, the law was changed to specifically provide that city, county, and state properties and federal properties, not that we can impose anything on the king, but we can go all the way to the state level, and they must pay if they're in an assessment district and they receive the special benefits, which we are receiving.
All right, now, if they're in that district and they have a post office, which is a public service, and important to have the postal service. Is their rate any different than, let's say, if you were a nightclub, a discotheque, a 7-Eleven, or is it all the same?
It's based on, in this case, frontage feet. It's also based on the services to be provided. Remember that the post office, the United States Post Office, is simply a tenant. They do not own the land, and
Right.
this assessment is on the landowner. We've had the same argument in prior bids for nonprofits that own property. This is not an issue of whether you can pay, it's an issue of the benefits you're receiving. So when this bid provides additional security, additional sidewalk maintenance, street services, landscaping, those services
Right.
go to all the properties and benefit all the properties
Well,
within
and
the bid.
I just think of it very quick. I know I'm 30 seconds over. This particular postal property does have private rental on the property, on the Wilcox side, if I'm correct. It's not all postal service, if my memory serves me correct. So, and someone signed a 40-year lease. I can't you know, a 40-year lease, they made their decision 40 years ago. If everybody's paying, we're paying, Michael?
Yes.
We're paying for Hollywood Street Maintenance, we're paying for Hollywood Rec Center.
Correct.
LA Unified's paying, I gotta say, everybody should pay. So I'm sorry for the representatives of the representative. Thank you, I ask that we support this, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Thank you, Councilmember Labange, for your good words, and thank you to the Clerk's Office for your diligent and excellent work on this, as always. And it's not a perfect process for anybody, and I respect what some of the other speakers said and how difficult it is. We certainly went through this up at Sunset Boulevard, how difficult the balloting process can be, and how many warts there are in this as we grow, trying to figure out tenants versus landowners, trying to make sure that we have something that is, in this case, quasi-democratic. It isn't one person, one vote. It isn't necessarily one foot, one vote. It isn't necessarily 1 square foot, one vote. So that is some of the difficulties of engaging in a business improvement district vote altogether, but I know that that is something that we'll have to continue to improve. Specifically, I think the system of balloting is something we've discussed in my committee, trying to make sure that we figure out the tenant versus landowners, because even if it is done one way, I think it affects tenants if it's a landowner bid and vice versa, and having that knowledge, because that money is passed on in one way or another, is important. Secondly, trying to figure out a continually better system to make sure that money is dispersed, that makes sense with the calendars that bids have and not necessarily what the city has, and making sure that they don't have a shortfall. I know that's something that's come up as well with this and something that we have to continue to work on. I also want to reiterate that it's my philosophy, I know it's Mr. Labange's philosophy as well, that having a business improvement district is not an excuse for us not to provide the city services we need to be preserving, that we need to be providing. And whether that's safety, whether it's looking at beautification, those are things that the city needs to continue to be doing, and we consider ourselves a partner to the Business Improvement District, and the leadership of the board and Mary Lou is something that we look forward to continuing with. And then lastly, I think that one thing that makes this Business Improvement District somewhat unique, colleagues, is that it really is, as a media bid, something very important for us to protect, that we have an industrial corridor, a commercial corridor, and at a time when land prices, things pencil out probably much more, and people know that I've been a big advocate of housing, but it's easier to put housing and other things down there. We must protect that which makes Hollywood, Hollywood. And it is the mom and pop studios, the independent studios, the post-production facilities, as well as some of the other entities that are here today. But that's what makes Hollywood, Hollywood. And if we can't protect that here in this city, shame on us, because if Hollywood becomes an empty shell of what it was, and production and editing and all of the other things aren't actually anymore in Hollywood, then we have lost a great piece of history. But I think renewing this will help us to preserve that, but it's a note for the future and the work that we have to do. So you have my support today. Thank you.
This matter is now before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That matter is approved.
And the ballot tabulation will be on tomorrow's agenda
All right,
also.
so we will revisit this tomorrow. The next item?
Item number 6 was called special for cards from the public.
I believe this is the final public hearing on a business improvement district. This is for the Canoga Park Improvement Association. We have 6 cards submitted. They are all in support. I will call the names: Mary Patterson, Paul Lewin, John Parker, Robert Goldberg, Thomas Tafoya, and Vicki Gilkey. Want to come forward? Now is the time to speak for anyone who would like to.
Good morning, Madam President, members of City Council. My name is John Parker. I'm the president of Canoga Park Improvement Association. And business is good in Canoga Park, and Canoga Park is looking good today. And Canoga Park is looking good because of the work of many people, including ourselves, the CRA, Main Street, Canoga Park, the Chamber of Commerce, and our council person, Dennis Zine, and his staff have done great work for us. But now, as we look forward to the next 5 years, one of the things that we want to do is to bring in some better businesses, some businesses rather that would complement the existing businesses, and we aim to look at to keep the place clean and safe, and also to attract some other businesses that would complement the existing businesses. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hello. I just want to say that as somebody who's, my name is Mary Patterson, Executive Director for the Canoga Park Improvement Association. And in addition to working with the BID in Canoga Park, I've worked in the area for over 23 years, and I won't go into, you all know what BIDs have been able to accomplish, but I've really truly seen the difference between how the area was declining, and then we had the earthquake, and now how people want to use Canoga Park as a model. We have heard from the council office and from the mayor's office as well that they're talking about using Canoga Park as a model for how communities can work together, because we have so many great groups in our area that weren't all of the same mind and now are. Everyone's working together. So I love the sense of community that we built and our partnership with the city and the police department and the council office. And so that's what I want to say. It's just been a really great partnership, and thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Hello, everybody. Let's see, my name is Paul Lewin. I've worked with the BID for the last 5 years. We're up for renewal. I own an anchor business in downtown Canoga Park, as well as a property owner. And I just wanted to put in my 2 cents to say I totally support the work the BID has been doing in rebuilding Canoga Park since the Northridge earthquake. There's a great staff. We work with all the great people and different organizations throughout Canoga Park, and thank you very much. We're all eagerly looking forward to the vote after this council session.
Good morning, honorable council members. My name is Vicki Gilkey, and I'm with the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Los Angeles. I'm here representing my team in Council District 3, which is led by Leslie Lambert, project manager. And she wanted me to come here today and say that we, as an agency and as a team in Council District 3, totally support the renewal of the Canoga Park Improvement Association's bid renewal petition. And over the last 5 years, I have watched personally the success that has been realized as a result of the public-private relationship that has been developed between the Community Redevelopment Agency and the Canoga Park Improvement Association. As Leslie Lambert says, without public-private cooperation of organizations, many times you run into roadblocks. When you have open lines of collaboration, you see progress. We see that with the Business Improvement District in Canoga Park. We urge you to vote yes, and thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Bob Goldberg. I'm a business owner and a property owner in Canoga Park. I'm here to speak in favor of the renewal of the bid. And in the time that the bid has been in action in Canoga Park, we've seen a tremendous increase in our business. We've seen an increase in our property values, and most importantly, we've seen an improvement in the image of Canoga Park, so that people outside of the area now see it as a booming area. I'd like to thank the City Council in general for their past support, Councilman Zine for his support of the bid, and encourage you to vote for the continuation of the bid in Canoga Park. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. My
Buenos días, mi nombre es Thomas. Soy el supervisor de mantenimiento de Canoga Park Improvement District. Hablo acerca de
quality of life. That's what we've done in the last 4
lo que hemos
years
hecho en los
that I've
últimos
been
4 años que yo he estado ahí.
There's no question in my
No hay
mind
duda
this is
que
a
esto
challenge to the
es
city of Los Angeles.
un desafío
Any
para la
day
ciudad de
of
Los
the week, you
Ángeles
go
porque
into downtown Canoga
día
Park,
de
you
semana van al
see the cleanest
centro de Canoga
streets,
Park,
the
mirarán las
cleanest
calles más
sidewalks, the
limpias,
cleanest
las
alleys
calles más
anywhere.
limpias, los callejones
We
más
virtually
limpios.
eliminated
Hemos
all
eliminado
graffiti
todo el
on a
graffiti
day-to-day basis.
diariamente.
No abandoned cars.
Ningún carro abandonado.
We've accomplished a
Hemos
lot
logrado
of
mucho,
landscaping.
muchos
I'm pro
crecimiento de
for this
jardines. Yo estoy a favor
district to continue.
de este distrito que
And
continúe.
only if we have the
Solamente si
partnership with
tenemos
the
la
city of Los
asociación con la
Angeles,
ciudad de Los Ángeles,
Dennis Zines
Dennis,
District,
el distrito de Dennis Hines,
CRA.
el
Thank you so
CRA.
much.
Gracias.
All right, thank you. That now concludes
Gracias.
the
Ahora
public
eso
hearing on
termina
this matter.
la
Let me
audiencia
recognize
del público.
Councilmember
Gusto
Zine.
reconocer al concejal Sain.
Madam
Gracias,
President,
señor
and
presidente.
to the
Y
fine people from Canoga
a las
Park, the
personas
business
de Canoga
community,
Park,
the CRA, the BID, Main
los
Street,
empresarios,
all of you,
CRA, BID, Main Street, a
congratulations and
todos,
thank you for being
felicitaciones y
here.
gracias por estar aquí.
I know it's a
Yo sé
long
que
drive down the
es
Ventura Freeway to City Hall,
un
but
largo
it's a
viaje
drive
desde
well worth it. And I think it's
del
important to
Freeway Ventura
recognize
al Ayuntamiento, pero
our
es
city
muy
clerk,
importante,
Mike
creo que es
Carey,
importante reconocer
that
a
not
nuestro
one
secretario municipal, Mike
dissenting
Carey,
voice,
que ni una
everyone's in
voz,
agreement.
todos están
What we
de
have
acuerdo.
developed
Lo
in
que hemos
Canoga
desarrollado
Park
en
is
Canoga
unity in that
Park es
community.
unidad. En esa
We've
comunidad
got
tenemos
programs to
programas
enhance the quality of
para
life.
mejorar
The
la
Madrid
calidad de
Theater,
vida. El
which is
Teatro
now
Madrid,
a
que ahora
thriving
es un
theater,
teatro
which is spilling into the community with other activity. The retail sales are up, cleanliness is up, and I'll travel down Sherman
ha
Way
sido
and I'll see the workers
revitalizado.
out there cleaning up those streets, cleaning up those sidewalks.
Las calles
We've turned it
están
around.
limpias, he visto
We
el
didn't have to
personal
change the name of
limpiando
Canoga
esto
Park.
y
We kept the name Canoga
todo ha
Park.
mejorado
We didn't have
muchísimo.
to
Tuvimos
shed the
que
name and put
cambiar el
another name
nombre,
in
nos
because of a
cambiamos el
negative
nombre
image.
Park,
We
tampoco
made
es cambiar
Canoga
el
Park
nombre
what
por
Canoga
un
Park is, a very
imagen
historical part of
negativa.
the city of Los Angeles and the
Manteniendo
San
esto.
Fernando Valley. I'm very proud to be the representative in that third district. We have posse members here from the third district, and all of those who spoke. I thank you for your acknowledgement of the good work that's been done. But it's been a cooperative effort with everyone involved, the businesses, the CRA, Main Street BID, Mary leading that charge with the flag, the Irish parade that we had down Sherman Way, Memorial Day parade, you name it, and it's in Canoga Park. And we invite everyone to come out and shop and visit Canoga Park. Everything that you can imagine is there in Canoga Park. Revitalize the community, and I think it sets a model for the rest of Los Angeles and for communities that want to come together in a unified fashion. So I encourage us to continue this. It's proven very, very effective and significant that not one dissenting speaker, not one dissenting voice on the continuation of the bid. It's proven its effectiveness. We're going to be opening up a library Thursday in Canoga Park on Sherman Way, a brand new library, and the existing library we're going to turn into hopefully a nice restaurant. People come and join, and not to compete with Follow Your Heart, because Follow Your Heart, you get good, healthy food, and we know that that is a wonderful establishment. But to add to that, we want to give a good plug to that. Follow Your Heart there on Sherman Way, that's been there probably as long as the beard's been growing, and it's still going to remain there as a symbol of what Canoga Park's all about, a great community. Thank you all for being here. I feel elated that we've got such good support for this, and the effectiveness, the elimination of graffiti, elimination of abandoned cars, and the community really coming together with everyone's benefit and everyone's concern. So for our city clerk, it should be an easy one to continue for the Canoga Park bid, and I know that, Harvey?
We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, well, we like to see tomorrow. Hopefully the results will be as positive as the comments today. Again, thank you for all the people from Canoga Park for being here, and we wish that this will continue and the progress of Canoga Park will continue, the thriving community in that southwest San Fernando Valley. Thank you all.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you, Mr.
Gracias,
Zine.
señor Sain.
Open the roll,
Ábrase voto.
close the roll,
Ciérrese voto. Y
tabulate
tablece
the vote.
conteo.
14 ayes.
14
That
sí.
is approved,
Esto ha sido
and
aprobado.
tomorrow we will have the
Mañana
ballot
tendremos
tabulation on this bid item as well.
cuento sobre
Let me
este
recognize at this time Mr.
También
Reyes.
reconocer al señor Reyes.
Thank you, Madam
Gracias,
President.
señor presidente.
When I needed to reconsider
Lo que
item number 40,
quiero que se reconsidere asunto
to
número
do something very
40
basic,
para
and that is
bastante
to,
básico, y esto es
if we can move on recommendation number 6
pedir que
on
número
that
6 se
particular item, and continue the
recomendación
rest
sea
till
aprobado y con todo el
August.
resto al agosto. Disculpe, señor Reyes, tiene que reconsiderarlo
All right,
primero.
but I think
y
he's just
luego
explaining what he
hablar.
would
Él
ask
iba a
us to do after
explicar
we
lo que quería que
reconsider it.
hiciéramos después de que él
We will
lo
let's
reconsideramos.
open
Por
the
lo
roll
tanto,
on
quiero que se abra
reconsideration
el
as
voto en
requested
reconsideración tal
Mr.
como
Reyes
ha pedido el
on
señor
item
Reyes sobre
40.
asunto número 40.
Close the roll,
Cierre ese voto. Y
tabulate the
tablece
vote.
conteo.
14
14
ayes.
sí.
All right, that matter is now
Este
before
asunto
us.
ahora está
Mr. Reyes,
frente al
what would
señor
you like
Reyes.
to
¿Qué es lo que le
move?
gustaría
Okay.
pedir?
We'll rewind.
Bien, de nuevo.
All we need
Reverse.
to do is
Lo que me gustaría
move
hacer
recommendation
es
number
pedir que
6
el número 6, la recomendación
and
número
continue
6
the rest of the
se
matter
apruebe con todo el
to
resto del
August 18th.
asunto al 18 de agosto.
All right, we've heard the
Bien, hemos
recommendation
escuchado
to
la
approve
recomendación
item
de
6,
aprobar
which is
asunto
asking the
6,
city
el cual
attorney
es
to
pedir al
draft an
municipal que
ordinance
escriba
and
una
then bring the
ordenanza
entire matter
y traer
back
todo
on
este
August
asunto de regreso
18th.
el 18 de agosto.
Open the roll on that
Ábrase voto en su
recommendation,
recomendación.
close the
Cierre ese
roll,
voto
tabulate the
y
vote.
tablece conteo.
14 ayes.
14 sí.
That
Esto ha
is
sido
approved.
aprobado.
Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Next item.
Siguiente asunto.
Item number
Asunto
20
número
was called
20 fue
special by
especial por el
Councilmember Parks.
concejal Parks.
Mr. Parks?
Señor Parks.
Item 20 was called
Asunto
special.
20.
Mr. Parks has no need to hear
no
that
tiene
special,
necesidad de
so
escuchar esto
if
como
no one
especial,
else wants
por
to
tanto,
speak on
además
item
de hacer
20,
presentación sobre
open
asunto
the
20, abra
roll,
ese voto,
close the roll,
cierre ese voto y
tabulate
tabule
the
ese
vote.
conteo.
14 ayes.
14 sí.
That is approved.
Esto ha sido
Mr.
aprobado,
Reyes?
señor Reyes.
Yes, one last matter on item
El último
41.
asunto, asunto 41.
We can reconsider that matter.
Vamos a reconsiderar ese asunto.
We have folks
Tenemos
here
personas
that
aquí
would like to
que les
speak in
gustaría hacer
public comment.
presentación durante el
Have a
comentario
senior lead
público.
officer, Bill Larson, could also speak on the matter for the record.
All right, we have to reconsider per request of Mr. Reyes, item 41. That matters before us for reconsideration. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right, and now Mr. Reyes has moved a public hearing. Let me call forward at this time Mr. Tuchman, Jamar Frankel, Joyce Stillard, and I understand there's a senior lead officer as well. So please come forward. We will have a 5-minute public hearing.
Yes.
Go on.
Thank you. My name is Aviv Tuchman. I'm an attorney for the landowner at Alvarado and Olympic. This is an appeal from the Plum Committee, which came from the zoning administrator on a very narrow issue, and that is the issue of whether there should be a security guard
Está hablando acerca del
at
asunto si debe haber
the
una
very
guardia
small
de
strip
seguridad
mall.
en un lugar muy
The history
pequeño
of this
de
is
centro
that
comercial.
there
La
was a
historia de
donut
esto es
shop
que
which was
había
allowing
una
a lot
tienda
of
de donuts, el cual estaba
illegal activity
permitiendo que
going
mucha actividad
forward. We
ilegal
met
se
in the
llevara a
summer
cabo.
of
Nos reunimos
03
en
with
el invierno
the
de
city
2003
attorney
con
under
el
the
fiscal
nuisance abatement
municipal
program.
bajo el programa
The landlord, who
de
is my client, JNF, acted to impose conditions on the
mejorar un área por actividades
donut tenant,
criminales.
and the donut
Queremos
tenant said
mejorar
he would
las
comply and did not.
condiciones. Y
We
hablamos
checked
con el
with the lead
inquilino de
officer
la
and we
tienda de
checked
donuts,
with
dijeron que
the
ellos iban a
city,
cumplir, nos
during
iban
the
a
time,
asistir y no lo han hecho.
that the donut shop was supposed to comply. We then received in February a
Recibimos en
zoning
febrero
administrator notice
aviso de
of
administrador de
hearing.
zona, una audiencia.
We were not aware that there were continuing problems. We acted to evict the city donuts in the middle of their 5-year lease. They were in fact evicted and vacated on March 2. Since then, since the last 5 months, there's been no criminal activity. The criminal activity has gone to zero. There's been no debate regarding this. With respect to the actions of the zoning administrator, we request that the decision be changed and that the requirement of a guard be subject to review with no guard for the first 6 months, because we don't want a problem where there's a guard in place and we're told that the guard's working. What's working is that the tenant that was causing the problem is gone. So in effect, what we want is, we want you to reverse the Plum Committee's ruling, and we only want to appeal that short portion of the zoning administrator's decision on the guard. And this is James Frankel.
Thank you. I'm James Frankel. My family is the owner of the shopping center at Alvarado and Olympic. And when we invested in this property, we took a chance on investing in a property that is in a high crime area. It was brought to our attention a while back that there was a crime problem at our donut shop. After extensive discussions and legal activities, we did evict the donut shop 5 months ago. Since that time, there has been zero crime activity there. I've been in touch with John Wolf behind me, the officer in charge of that location, and he has concurred with me that there has been no illegal activities. For us to now put in a guard after 5 months of no illegal activity would be of such a high expense that I don't know that the shopping center could continue to survive. And it would be very difficult on my family to have invested in a center that fails because we have to have an added expense. There is not enough profit in the center to support a guard. I'd like you to modify the ruling to look at this again in 3 months and see if there has been no crime in the last 3 months, that we continue not to have a guard. If there is crime over the next 3 months, we would put in the guard. I think that's a fair request, and I ask that you take that under consideration. Thank you.
May I just do one quick follow-up comment? And that is, when the zoning administrator acted, since the nuisance had been abated, he should not have acted and was deprived of jurisdiction at that time. Thank you.
Senior Lead Officer would like to speak.
Good afternoon. I'm Officer John Wolf, Rampart Division, and I'm the Senior Lead Officer for the location in question, 1013 South Alvarado. I've been an officer in Rampart Division for approximately 7 years, and this particular location has been a cherry spot almost for police officers to go make arrests for drugs or prostitution. We've also had continuing problems with transients residing there, gambling, and again, the prostitutes hanging out in there. As a senior lead officer, I've attended many meetings, and the citizens have been afraid to walk even around that corner. Mr. Frankel is correct that there has been no problem since March, but one of the reasons why there hasn't been a problem is the location has been closed. There is a library that has recently been opened across the street, and we feel that we cannot afford to take a chance on the property reverting back to the problems that it had before.
Thank you. Let me recognize Mr. Reyes.
Yes, if we can allow the city attorney that's been working on this case, if we can speak as well, Mr. Larson.
Good morning, Mr. Reyes. Basically, I'm the citywide nuisance abatement prosecutor who's been assigned to this case. We've had meetings with Mr. Frankel before in June and July of last year, and at that time we made known our concerns about the nuisance activity that was going on. After that hearing, some of the nuisance activity continued. They were staying open at night, and basically it's reached this stage where we have it before the zoning administrator, and now we have this appeal that's been lodged by the property owner. And basically, we have been watching this location very closely because of the amount of crime that it had been generating before. When it was originally opened up, we had the narcotics dealing, and we had illegal gambling. The Organized Crime and Vice Division of the LAPD was monitoring it as well. There was a video that was shot that indicated all of the things that were going on. And obviously now the question that's before the council has to do with, now that they're opening the new Subway sandwich, what will be the situation there? And it is true what they were saying about the criminal activity before, but that's obviously the concern, is what is going to happen now.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this is an issue in which I want to be responsive. I want to be sensitive to the business needs of this community, of that particular shopping center. But the graphic detail we got from the city attorney at that time, and the officers, and the community. And mind you, this is across the street from a library we just built. So you have folks with pieces of crack being spit out of their mouth during the day. We have some very graphic, unsightly, unhealthful, downright dangerous situations in a place in which there's really nowhere else to go for the basic services like a library. So what we're asking is to allow for a security guard to be there for 6 months. And if we can show and demonstrate that things have changed, that there is a level of responsibility, there's a level of cleanliness, there's a level of healthiness, there's a level of decency, where our own children can go to a library, go to a eatery across the street, and enjoy life the way anyone else would want to enjoy life in any other part of the city. I don't think it's much to ask. So in support of our attorney, in support of our officers, in support of our community leaders who spoke at the Plum Committee, all we're requesting is 6 months of a security officer that will ensure that this area will be cleaned up, that will ensure that our children, our parents, the seniors who go to the library across the street will not feel threatened, and we eliminate the blight and the crime that's been occurring there for far too long. Ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Members, you've heard Mr. Reyes reaffirm the Planning Committee recommendation based on the ZA report. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That matter is approved. What does that bring us to, Madam Clerk?
Next item, Madam President, item number 29 was adopted previously. However, there is an amending motion that has been distributed to the council members. Do you wish to reconsider that matter?
All right. Ms. Perry, did you want to move?
That was
Okay.
item 29.
Item 29
Yes,
is,
I'd like to have a motion for reconsideration.
let's open the roll on reconsideration. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is now before us. Ms. Perry?
This is just a technical amendment, and we've added in some language regarding the, excuse me, the County Board of Supervisors, since the property in question is county property on city streets involving the city sidewalk.
All right, we have an amendment on that item, item 29, that is now before us to be included. Open the roll on the amendment as well as the report. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 52 is called special for cards from the public.
All right, on item 52, let me call forward two speakers, Joyce Dillard and Sylvia Lynn Hawkins.
Yes, I'm Joyce Dillard. I live out in the area of Lincoln Heights, and I have a problem with this motion as it stands. It has to be a loaded phrase, support programs in operation of the Cultural Affairs Department, including overhead costs. Well, what oversight do we have? I have a letter here that shows you that we have tried to get information about an unauthorized expenditure for $150,000 for the Wallace Memorial, which you've heard us testify on many times, which is a problem in our area. We have received nothing from the Cultural Affairs Department in relation to this, other than some committee minutes for public arts. And we've asked Councilmember Reyes' Arturo Chavez per Leslie Thomas's request and have received nothing. So the public really isn't being brought into a department that may seem small but is really very important in areas of art. You know, there are copyrights. We cannot get copies of the art. We have to go down there and see them, which means someone has to leave a job or something to look at them. So as this little phrase enters this section, I think there needs to be oversight. I think there needs to be a change in the way the city operates. I think you need to include the citizens. I think you need to post things more and make things accessible. And I ask you to reconsider it. I'd like the city attorney to please explain a little deeper. He did not return my phone call.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ms. Sylvia Lenny Hawkins. Working is great with wages, dealing with our economic, health care problem, and our company's business at this time. We cannot afford benefits and insurance for businesses or workers. Prices of food costs is out of order, and the value of cheap food. Millions are dying because we must demolish all cheap value foods.
Ma'am, this is item 52.
52, okay. One moment, please. Also concerning our budget and finance of our Los Angeles City Council committee reports, I'm very concerned who is in charge, or who is over the finance committee, who is keeping account over treasury money given to the panel or the council members. How are they keeping account of LA treasurer money given out to the panel? If we are not keeping account of the treasurer, we cannot use the church money whom we are at war with to give to the panel. I'm very much concerned concerning who is over the treasurer of the city council, so we will give account of where is the money going.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
This concludes public comment for item 52. Members wishing to be heard on item 52 Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 70, call special. I believe there are cards from the public.
Yes, item 70, and also called special by Mr. Parks. Mr. Parks, did you wish to say anything before we take public comment on this?
No, Mr. Chair, we'll have the public comment first.
Okay. Item number 70 now before us, and the council calls forward Eric Nishizuwa, followed by Ricardo Torres, Jose Pavon, James Harris, Jay Sloan, Leon Jenkins, Cynthia McLean Hill, Bernard Usry. If you would all please form a line behind the podium, we'd appreciate it. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the City Council. I'm Eric Nishizawa. I'm General Counsel to Al's Towing, the successful bidder in the 77th Street area OPG contract. Because of a procedural issue, this matter is back before the City Council, but the substantive merits have not changed at all. 5 times the Police Commission has recommended to the City Council that Al's Towing receive this contract. 5 times unanimously has made that recommendation. The plain fact of the matter is that Al's Towing was a successful bidder and rated highest among all bidders by 10 points. The incumbent was not even number 2. The incumbent was number 3. Moreover, the incumbent has, by twice the number, more complaints and more sustained complaints than any of the other contractors in the city for official police garages. The number 2 provider, Swanee Mac, lost one of their contracts. This matter has been heard many, many times by a number of agencies. The CLA has reviewed the process of the award of this contract. The CLA has reviewed the bid and has approved it. The CAO has also done that. The Police Commission and the Police Department has reviewed this tremendously. This council has considered it both in the Public Safety Committee several times and before the full City Council. I urge you again to affirm the Police Commission's unanimous recommendation, support your police department, support the successful bidder in this process.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Mr. President. Members of the council, we have filed a lawsuit in the past, and we resolved this matter on June 15th here in this council. Unfortunately, no one from the Kaiser Towing side showed up to make a case, to even make any statements with respect to what was going on. The City of Los Angeles gave an award letter to Al's Towing on June 30th of this year. And since that date, Al's Towing has spent $2.6 million to make sure that this contract is satisfied. Leases, equipment, property, $2.6 million in Reliance, effective June 30th. Nonetheless, due to procedural glitch, the City Police Commission did review this again. Corina Alarcon looked at it again, and they unanimously decided again to go with Al's Towing. I just want this council to understand that Al's Towing is going to intervene in any actions, and Al's Towing is going to support the process. This is the last of all of the OPG contracts. We're supporting the process. The process has been followed unanimously and uniformly with all OPGs, including this one. So we will support this decision of the Police Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please, if you'd introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Honorable Council. My name is Leon Jenkins. I represent the NAACP, the Los Angeles branch. And what we are here for today is not to ask you to give this contract to Kaiser Towing. What we're asking for is a fundamental fairness, that they be given the opportunity to present their case in a free and unbiased way. Like, for example, this body right here looked at the minority report, adopted it, and said because there are significant questions being raised. We want to send this back, and we want you to address those questions in the hearing by the commission. The commission, when it goes back to the commission, none of the questions, none of the issues that were so significant and important that made you send it back were addressed. And I think fundamental to that is when you look at the requirements that talks about the scoring category. It talks about formal business plan, experience, regulation, and contract. In this particular case, you have a towing company that existed for 36 years as the towing company for the 77th precinct. Not only that, you look over those 37 years, you had 28 complaints. You have where Kaiser Towing has 70,000 tows a year, times 36. Now, if you look at 28 complaints, that's not even 1% of 1% of 1%. So when you look at that, I don't see how they score could have been as low as it has been projected and used in this particular case. So all we're asking for is that you send it back and that the commission be given instructions that they have this hearing and make a decision based on the fundamental fairness and on some directions and guidelines from this office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, James Harris, Southwest Neighborhood Council. We're here to speak for, again, as you've heard from the community, not from Al's Towings. We feel that this was not a fair process. We were here in April. The board voted 13-2 in favor of sending it back to the bidding process. That was fair and appropriate. And speaking from neighborhood council point of view, we feel that it should go back to the bidding process, and it should be a fair and equal bidding process for everybody involved. Thank you.
Next speaker.
My name is Jay Sloan. I'm Sergeant at Arms of Park Mesa Heights Community Council. I was here last time this item came up here, and I heard a lot of the comments from the council as to how they felt about this particular issue. You know, however, what concerns me as a citizen and a retired city employee, is that this is the first time I've ever seen a commission, appointed commission, just defy a vote from the council like it happened on this particular issue. You know, this wouldn't have happened before the new charter. You know, so I didn't finally figure out exactly what Reardon was all about, what he's talking about. This is a dangerous situation for us to be in when our elected officials' opinion doesn't mean anything to the commissioners that's before us. You know, and as everyone has spoken before, the criteria that they're using to try to move to create all these unemployed people that are presently at Kaiser Towing. You're going to just take all take all those jobs away and give it to somebody in the city of Alhambra. You know, here we are on a national basis talking about trying to stop people from sending jobs abroad, and here my city council was sending jobs to Alhambra. You know, I have a problem with that. This city council here is probably very unique because it comes in here with a lot of city experience. Some of you I know. You have a lot of city experience. It doesn't make any sense for you to just let the commissioners of this city take charge. You are the elected power of this city. And that has to stay a constant. I totally think the item should go back to bid because, as you know, the numbers don't lie. You know, 28 out of 30,000 and 40,000 is not the same as 8 out of 5,000. Come on, I'm a math, you know, let's do the math.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Cynthia McLean Hill, and I'm here representing Kaiser Towing. I understand that we're here to address the Police Commission's rejection of the Council's instruction that it rebid the 77th OPG. What I can tell you is, and what we all know, is that in April this council heard from a variety of people and had a rather lengthy discussion with the Police Commission staff about the process used to select the 77th OPG. The council came to the conclusion overwhelmingly that that process had significant problems, and the best way to resolve the issue was to have it rebid. When the matter went back to the city's police commission, the first reaction from the police commission was to express outrage that the council would have the temerity to second-guess its judgment. That was somewhat surprising given the fact that this process was delegated to the police commission. It is a council process. The police commission is not acting with original jurisdiction. You asked them to do this. You have every right to ask them to do it again. They then went into closed session, and we don't know what happened. What we do know is that they had a subsequent meeting where the police commission in open session considered the matter. And among the things that occurred is Commissioner Alarcon asked the staff if it wouldn't make sense to have periodic reviews of OPGs. And if maybe in the future, that's something that they ought to do and bring to the commission on a regular basis. The staff said, sure, we could do that. What the staff didn't say is that there were 16 periodic reviews of Kaiser Toe during the RFP bid period, all of which he passed with flying colors, and we didn't use those reviews in coming to a compliance score for him. They didn't tell the police commission that, and Commissioner Alarcon didn't know that in making her decision. Makes no sense that it would be important to do it, that they did it, that they didn't use it. What we also learned is that the police commission staff indicated that in addition to the complaints, the number, which weren't determinative, and in addition to the kind of complaints, that wasn't fully determinative of the issue with respect to Kaiser's score, that it was also based on the way in which Kaiser interacted with them, how they felt about that contractor, about his attitude. I would simply say to you that there has been nothing put in this record or any other record that we're aware of that would in any way undercut the conclusion that this council made in April. It wasn't fair. It didn't become fair because the police commission reaffirmed their judgment. So we urge you to bring this to conclusion by, again, having this matter rebid.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. I'm Bernard Ussery. I'm an attorney with McLean Hill Associates, and I'm litigation counsel for Kaiser Towing Corporation in this matter. I'd like to address the very specific issue of this City Council's Brown Act violation. At the June 15th City Council meeting, the council properly went into closed session to discuss Al Towing's lawsuit against the city. However, during that closed session, it also and improperly discussed reconsidering its previous action directing the police commission to rebid the OPG contract. When the council went into closed session, the directive had been for the OPG contract to be rebid. When it came out, the council then awarded the contract to Al's Tow. It is clear that during that closed session, which was noticed for discussion of litigation, that this council also discussed the award of the OPG contract. That violates the Brown Act. We have served on the city notice to provide the minutes, the audio tapes, and other records of that closed session. It has not done so. Yesterday, we filed a lawsuit in that regard, served it upon the city council, and the police commission. In order to avoid this further litigation, further acrimony, we urge the city council, one, to release the minutes of the improperly closed session, and to follow what it had previously said it was going to do, which is to order the police commission to rebid the 77th Street Division OPG contract. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a card also from Lillian Marengo and Jose Pavon. These are the final two speakers.
Yes, my name is Lily Merengo. I just want to support the fairness of the bidding of this contract because it just doesn't make sense using public officials in order to make deals behind public fairness. That's all I came here, just to support an open and fair bidding. Thank you.
Presentar
propuestas para contratos
And this will
abiertos.
conclude
Así se
public
terminará
comment
el
for item number
comentario
70.
público para asunto número
Members wishing
70.
to be
Miembros
heard, beginning with Ms.
empezando con la
Misikowski.
señora Ms. Misikowski.
Thank you. I believe first the city attorney would like to address why this matter is officially before us.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. And if the council will indulge me for a few minutes while I try to explain why this is back before us. Correspondence sent by Kaiser Towing's attorneys alleges that both the City Council at its meeting of June 15, 2004, and the Police Commission at its meeting of May 4, 2004, violated the Brown Act. The City Attorney's Office is of the opinion that there were no violations at either meeting. However, arguably, there was some minor confusion regarding the findings for closed session for the May 4th Police Commission meeting. So, in an abundance of caution and in order to avoid litigating the Brown Act issues regarding the Commission's action, our office advised the Police Commission to consider the matter anew, pursuant to Government Code Section 54960.1, Subdivision C. In light of the Commission's action on July 22, 2004, to reaffirm its prior award of contract to Al's Towing, the City Council now has to act anew to approve or disapprove the Commission's award of contract. If Council disapproves, the matter can only be sent back to Commission for reconsideration by the Commission in light of Council's disapproval. If, in discussing the award of the contract, questions arise regarding the actual or threatened litigation, that discussion should take place in closed session. And one final note, the threatened litigation to which the agenda refers is now actual litigation. Kaiser Towing filed and served complaint number BS 091576 yesterday afternoon. The case is entitled Kaiser Towing versus City of Los Angeles et al.
Inclusivo. Gracias. President and City Attorney, members, it sounds complicated. I think it is less so. The case that was just indicated is filed by the City Attorney and was indicated filed by the outside legal representative was a case relative to the Brown Act. What we are doing today cures a Brown Act problem if there were one. The Police Commission cured its Brown Act violation if there was one by its action recently at a publicly noticed session. They have acted in a public notice session to affirm its award. That award is now before us. We have had multiple discussions. We have had discussions with the City Attorney. Let me just remind everyone that in November 2002, the staff of the Police Commission, having done its due diligence in this contract as well as all others, had recommended Al's Towing. That was reaffirmed by the Police Commission in early 2003. In April 2003, it came to the council. The council asked the CLA to look at it. The CLA affirmed the decision, and we had multiple hearings in Public Safety Committee, where Public Safety Committee affirmed the decision. The council in May decided to send it back. The Police Commission instead said, no, we believe we have been thorough, we believe under our advice of our staff, under advice of the City Attorney, that our position is the right one. The Council did, in its actions reconsidering this in June, affirm the Police Commission award. I believe as we have gone into closed session in the past, as we've gone into public session, as the record indicates, this has been fairly dealt with in those people to whom we have delegated the most significant, detailed response to look into this, and was affirmed by our Police Commission. So I'm asking the Council again to affirm its last action and award the contract to Al's Towing, as the Police Commission has subsequently and to hopefully leave this matter in that recommendation, which I think is what has been recommended by our city attorney and by the police commission staff, as well as by the CLA.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr.
Gracias,
Chair.
señor
I
presidente.
just would like to reiterate a couple of things. I think that we had extensive debate on this issue, what ended up in a 13-2 vote. I agree that later on in closed session that there was a change in the vote, but my concern today is that the file is replete with information as relates to the unfairness of the process, and the overwhelming vote by the council a while back supported that we can go on and on about material that was not used, a system that was not in place for outside bidders, how the inconsistency of statements by the LAPD investigators, it goes on and on and on. And I think the confusion as this thing has gone forward has been that there was a belief that the effort was to not go forward with Al's Toe and give it to Kaiser. The issue has been all along the unfairness of the process is stated clearly that it is unfair to take someone's business based on that level of inconsistent information and inappropriate information and a poor investigation. The only way to fix this is to start all over again. We've used that as a process in this city over and over again. We find that we have created now another lawsuit. It's now going to be even a greater mess as we go forward and look at how the city is going to defend itself, not only with the issues of well-documented bias in the report, but now we have added to it the Brown Act violations. We made cure the Brown Act violations today, but one of the things we'll never cure is the vote that was in closed session that overturned a 13-2 vote about the substance of the issue. And I think that's where we are all going to have to, at some point in time, come to grips with that. And I think when we look at this process, that it has not been fair from the beginning. It's well documented it wasn't fair. There's a long history between the police department and Kaiser Toe that is suspect for years. And I think when we get to the final analysis and this lawsuit, it will come back to light that this company was not treated fairly, that we did not have a fair process. And then in the final analysis, again, we will start all over again, because that is the only remedy that's going to cause this to go forward. So I'd ask that we as a council go back to that day that we discussed this for well over an hour, had community people that we looked in the eye and said, we're going to do the right thing, we want it fair, and that we move forward and send this back and have it redone. No one is giving guidance to the police commission as to who to select. All we're asking for is a fair process, and all we're asking for is as a process that was delegated to them, that they not ignore or reject the council's direction to start this process over. And I think that's the way it will eventually occur, some point in time, at some conclusion of this current lawsuit, but we will see this over and over again until we come to grips with resolving this by starting this process over.
Mr. Verragosa.
Yes, Mr. President, members, I don't normally get up on contractual situations of this nature, but in the discussion that Mr. Parks raised, and I have no ill will or certainly wouldn't substitute my judgment for the police commissions with respect to Al's towing. This isn't an issue about that from my vantage point. I said that day when I voted with Mr. Parks that Mr. Parks, the council member representing that area, much as I have in the year that I've been here for a number of my colleagues when they've raised issues of this kind, I've said that he's made enough valid points here that convince me that we should ask the police commission to reopen this. This is the council member that represents the area where this contract will be let, and it seemed to me that where a council member has made and very eloquently, I may add, a case to reopen an item in the way that he did, that it was incumbent upon the council to do that. What did the police commission do? They essentially said, we've looked at the matter, we disagree, it's within our ambit to make this decision, and we're making it. I frankly disagree with that idea. We're the city council. Ultimately, we have oversight over all of the commissions, or at least we should. And it seems to me that that is the issue we're vindicating. We're not speaking on behalf of one contractor or the other, with all, with all due respect. What we're speaking to was a process. I think Mr. Parks made a strong case for a process that needed to be reopened, given the fact there had been a long relationship with one of the contractors over many, many years. There had been evaluations. There had not been some negative, or there had only been, there was some negative comments that historically, mostly it was positive, and I thought that out of respect for the council member and the district that he represents, that it was important for us to do that. That's why I voted the last time in the way I did, and that's why I intend to vote with Councilmember Parks. I think we have to vindicate the idea that when we send something back to the Police Commission, the Harbor Commission, the Airport Commission, the DWP, we should get the respect that our body deserves as the ultimate body that makes these decisions.
Thank you. Mr. Villaraigosa, two things. One, the commission did deliberate again, twice, since our last action in May. And one of the things I think we are asking of our commissions is that they not be necessarily controlled by the political will of the council, that they be independent. That was one of the things the Charter Commission said, and it's one of the things we asked them to be. Secondly, although you very clearly recall the issue when we had the very significant debate here, I don't believe you were in council the subsequent date where the city attorney asked to address us, and we went into a very lengthy executive session matter subsequent to a lawsuit having been filed. There was information there that was forthcoming that did talk about the fairness issue, and I think that fairness issue has been publicly made known in terms of the action and the chronology. And then, again, as a consequence of recent indications, recent issues written by attorneys, both the Police Commission, again, has said it in a public forum and acted again subsequently to reaffirm this, and it's back to us again today to act on it. I believe the record is very, very, very substantial for those kinds of things that we do look at. The official record, the rating systems that go back to the 2002, the subsequent overview that was done by the CLA, who has not normally gotten involved in this, but per a request by the city council member, did, comparing this to all others and comparing this to standalone. And then subsequently, again, the Police Commission's action. Given that, given the sum total, I believe that the action today to affirm the Police Commission action in this case is the prudent course, is the fair course, is the course that the action and the evidence in the file really sets forth. I therefore move that, based on the communication from the Commission, we affirm the decision of the Police Commission and award this to Al's Towing as the Police Commission has recommended. Is there a second?
Mr. Cardenas seconds. Mr. Cardenas.
Yes, I'd like to just point out a couple things. It was mentioned today that to go forward in a certain direction, we are going to be facing a lawsuit. But with all due respect, we have now found ourselves in a situation with whatever we do, there's a 99.9% chance that there's going to be a lawsuit brought onto the city, regardless of who finally gets the contract. So I'm not casting my vote based on any fear. I'm casting my vote based on the fact that we deliberated this issue in these council chambers, and we did send it back to the commission, and I clarified in these council chambers as well that when we sent this body sent it back to the commission, they did deliberate it again. They did not disrespect this council as has been described in these chambers, that we just sent it back to them and they tossed it back to us. They did not treat it like a volleyball. They treated it with the care and respect that we deserve and this issue deserves, and it is now back before us, and I do concur with Ms. Misikowski.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, I don't want to in any way indicate that I don't respect the positions that have just been articulated. I'll just say this. I think that Mr. Parks made a very strong case for review. I think he was able, in a very long presentation, was able to pinpoint specific, not political, but substantive and concrete concerns that he had with respect to this issue. I am voting in the way that I am because I believe that it's important for us where he has done his due diligence, presented a case of concern in the way that he did, that it's important for us to support the idea that the commission should have reopened and looked at this. While they may have discussed it, I understand that. I don't believe that, as I understand the record, that they discussed it with sufficient attention to detail and specifically responding to the concerns that he raised. Having said that, I certainly do believe that ultimately this is a matter, as Mr. Cardenas said, this is going to end up in the courts. I only raise my microphone today because I believe that it's important for us and this council to, when we have raised the kind of concerns on the level that Mr. Parks did, that we support him.
I have Mr. Zine, followed by Mr. Dudlow, Mr. Labange, and then Mr. Parks for a second time. Mr. Zine.
I wanted to call the question.
The previous question has been called. Let's open the roll on the previous question. You're free to vote no if you don't want to end discussion. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
7 ayes, 7 noes.
Okay, doesn't carry. Mr. Dudlow, you're up.
I'm before Tom? All right.
You're next.
Yeah, hard. First of all, thank you, Mr. President, for calling the vote that you did. I think that last vote, I wish everything went so peaceful around here, but I just wanted to pick up on a point that one of our colleagues just mentioned. At any point, colleagues, we come into situations where there's an issue that really is in our district. And listening to this, and I know that some of the council members that have been involved, I know our Chair of Public Safety, who's done a great job as Chair of Public Safety, has a dossier about 5 pages long on the history of this case, which is really amazing. It dates back before many of us were on the council. But I would urge this body to, one, give some deference to the member whose district this falls in for a couple of reasons. Each one of us know all too well what it means to be able to have city contracts that are in our area that we as council members have confidence in. I mean, I think it's a big item. I don't know that there's a member on this body that hasn't at some point, at least in the 12 months I've been here, come to me and said, this is a district issue, and I just wanted you to be aware of where I am on this issue. We never, obviously, go much beyond that, but we have extended some courtesy to those individuals who have to sort of toil in the trenches in their own district and how they're going to respond to contractors, especially in the area of public safety. The second one is, as you all know, I spoke up at the last session on this issue because I quite honestly was very concerned about the list of issues that have been raised in terms of the evaluation process. Ms. McLean-Hill re-articulated those here today. But there's been a third one raised, and I didn't quite understand the city attorney's response on it. I know that you covered a lot of ground in a short period of time, but there has been an allegation here of a Brown Act violation. Just for the record, you're saying that the city attorney, Rocky Delgadillo's position is there was no Brown Act violation? Just for my own clarification.
From our analysis, there was no Brown Act violation. There was confusion at the police commission, and that's why we're here, just out of an abundance of caution.
All right, and then I will close with this. With that, strong endorsement from the city attorney's office on how definitive we are that this was a clean process. I think that there's something to be said for how difficult it is in this community, in communities of South LA, to actually ascertain contracts with the city of LA. And I think we could open up a whole other discussion on that. If the council member in that area felt like this company has been derelict, that has been absolutely dysfunctional, can't do the job, and if we had found that there was an amazingly balanced process that went through with flying colors all the way up to this moment as the city attorney saying absolutely yes, I'd have no problem upholding that as a process, but it doesn't seem like all those factors are in place. And so I'm going to be urging a vote of support for Council District 8 in this item.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you. Could I have the officials of the Police Commission center table, please?
Lleguen, por favor, al centro de la mesa.
Now pretend I just got off a bus from Boston,
Pretenden que me acabo
okay?
de bajar en el
And I
autobús
just
de
walked in
Boston y
here and
acabé
I
de
missed
llegar
all the other
aquí y
meetings.
no fui a
Tell me
la
what's
reunión. Dígame,
before
¿qué
us
es lo que
right
está
now.
pendiente ahorita?
Well, what's before you
que está
is
pendiente ahorita
an
es
award
una
recommendation for the
recomendación de otorgar
77th Area
el contrato para el
OPG.
área 77
The
OPG.
Police
El
Commission
Consejo de
has made a
Policía
recommendation
ha
to
hecho
the
una
City
recomendación
Council
al
that
Consejo Nacional
the
que
Official Police Garage
el garage
Award
oficial de la
be given
policía
to
que
Al
ese contrato
Pagone
se
doing business as Al's Towing.
le otorgue a
The
Al's Towing.
Commission has
La
voted
comisión ha
to
votado
make the award recommendation.
hacer esta
It's presented its
recomendación,
award
ha
recommendation to
presentado su
council.
recomendación al Consejo
It
Municipal
has
y
been remanded to the
ha sido
commission
remitido a la
on
comisión
a few occasions for
varias veces para
reconsideration, for a
reconsideración,
close scrutiny on the
para
decision that was
una
made by the
investigación
board and the
muy cercana,
recommendation that was made
basado en
on
la
behalf of its
decisión de la
staff.
Junta Directiva y también
And
recomendación
in
de
several
parte de su personal y
instances,
varios
there has been an
momentos ha
exhaustive
sido
review,
una
engaged discourse and debate on
revisión,
behalf of the
diálogo,
commission,
conversación de parte de la comisión,
involved
involucra
investigations and
investigaciones muy
review by the
involucradas,
staff,
revisiones
so
por el
that
personal
the
para que así
commission
la
believes that it is making the best
siente que
decision
está haciendo la mejor
and in
decisión,
awarding what it believes is
otorgando
the
lo que ellos
best
piensan que son
company
es
to
la mejor
receive the
compañía para
77th Area
recibir
OPG
el OPG
and has
en
taken
esa
into
área y ha
consideration the various
considerado
concerns of the city council members,
diferentes, intereses
several
de-
requests for further review by the city council. It has taken the request by this body to take a close review and a very earnest review at the decisions that were made, the fairness, the issues of equity, the issues
Now,
of...
how long have you been in your role at the Police Commission? Because you talk about fairness and equity. Because I think that's what we're trying to deal with here, not who gets a contract. Because I don't think it should be up to us to determine, correct me if I'm wrong, who gets contracts. I think we should have input as representatives. But I think if everything I see in the newspapers lately is discussion about contracts, and Martin, you spoke about, whether this contract is right or not. I don't think it's us. They make the review on whether or not this is a good towing company and how many people bid on it. How many people bid on this contract?
On this particular contract, there were, I believe, 13 bidders
13, so
in the
a
area.
wide number of people bid on it. So fairness, talk to me about fairness, if you would.
Well, fairness,
Hablemos acerca de justicia, justicia,
we looked at all of the
justicia,
contractors with the
todos los
same
contratistas
evaluation
con la
criteria. We looked at them with
criteria,
a
lo
clean
miramos
slate.
con
We applied all of the rules that were, and all the criteria in the RFP equitably and equally among all of the people who submitted RFPs. There were some instances in which some bidders simply didn't have the operational capacity, didn't have the equity, didn't have the capital to maintain what we believe would be a good towing service to the city and to the citizens.
And also the incumbent company was reviewed as well, correct?
Correct. And by the same standards.
Where were they on the scale of 1 to 13?
Well, they certainly, in the area, there were 3 different categories. In 2 of those categories, they scored very favorably. In 1 of those categories, they did not score very favorably, and they were overall in 4th place.
What was that category that they did not score favorably?
Contract compliance. There are three categories. One dealt with
What is
experience.
contract compliance for those who listen?
When we look at contract compliance, it deals with if you have any contractual agreements with other agencies, with private companies, your ability to fulfill your contractual obligations, your ability to deal with the state laws, the municipal laws, any of the governing rules and practices for towing operations, any of the compliance, as an example, with the city permitting processes that we may have had. And we took into consideration all of those factors, any service agreements that may have been had with any contracts, any particular reflections on quality of service that any of the agencies were willing to share with us.
And they were ranked fourth.
Yes.
Mr. City Attorney, is he available? Now, just refresh my memory, you read something there a few minutes ago. That we have a pending lawsuit on this particular case, or is there
There are two lawsuits.
by whom?
One by Al's Towing, although that's been dismissed without prejudice, and the other by Kaiser, which was filed yesterday.
Thank you. On this particular issue?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Mr.
on the issue of the contract.
On the issue of the contract. Thank you.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One thing, and I have to respectfully disagree with Ms. Miskowski on some of these issues, and one of the things I think it's important for us to remember what we voted on. The last time we voted 13-2 to disapprove the recommendations of the Board of Police Commissioners, and we returned the entire matter to the Police Commission and request that they issue a new RFP. We didn't ask them to deliberate, we didn't ask them to review, we asked them to open a new RFP, and they did not do that. And so I think the issue with Mr. Villaraigosa commented on certainly is important about deliberation versus what the instruction. Also, I think if we recall the closed session, we did not have an in-depth analysis. What we had was a city attorney that told us what lawsuit they prefer to defend versus what the circumstances were. And that was what was the crux of that discussion. The other thing I think is important, just as we heard today, the inconsistency of the information. From all information that I have as we've gone through this, Kaiser Tow came out number 3. We heard today they were 4. The second, number 2 company was indicted for illegal criminal activity after this process. And we knew about some of that information while they came out number 2. And so these are things that, again, are the inconsistencies that continually come up in almost every public meeting we have had. We have a different answer and a different scenario as to what has occurred and what the actual circumstances. We know that, as we heard in several meetings, that only the complaints were the big issue, but yet in compliance with the law. But what we find out is that no other, something like 11 of the 13 members that competed did not have a complaint process in their city to be evaluated, because the city of LA, which prides itself of having the most stringent complaint process throughout this area, is the only one that mandates those kinds of complaints. So they did not compare apples against apples. The other issue is we go through, we know that Al's Towing received a bonus of a couple of points after the city review determined that they were in non-compliance with zoning and zoning laws in their own city. So they get a bonus of 2 points in the review process when a dereliction is found. Kaiser, for 16 years, gets a quarterly review that's positive and over makes statements as to their compliance with the rules. They have 28 complaints out of 40,000 tows, and we say they should be removed. We're saying that the process is not fair, it's biased. It should not take away a business. It should start all over. We should not be in a litigation over a process that we initiated and control. We should ensure, as we've done in the past, it goes back, it starts all over, and we get back a process that's fair that we can all support. And again, this is not an effort to decide who gets the contract. It's an effort to decide what's fair in the city of LA, no matter what part of the city we're in. And each one of us have these challenges that we've come come to
desafíos
the
que
council to talk about
enfrentamos
whether we
y
have a
hemos hablado con
lawsuit
municipal
on a
para ver
variety of
si
issues, and this is
tenemos
one
una
that I think we should
demanda
not
de
be in
diferentes
if
asuntos
we
y no
did
creo
it
que
the
debemos
right way.
estar en
And that's
este
starting all
asunto si
over again.
empezamos
Thank you.
hacemos lo
Mr.
correcto.
Labange.
Bien, gracias.
Members, I move that we continue this matter and ask that a police commissioner sit at the table and answer the questions that Mr. Parks articulated succinctly at that point to see. Because to me, it's a process of fairness is what I'm trying to get. And if we directed the police commission to do that in one day and they didn't, then they rejected our request. So I move that we request that the president or the police commissioner or their designee come to the city council to report on this issue.
Again, I think we have their designees right here. The action, when the police commission acted after we acted, was they got our information, they discussed the matter in open session, expressing confidence in the integrity of the staff and the evaluating processes that they had sent to us and the outcome, and they then voted to reaffirm their award. When it came back to us and we talked to the city attorney, and I think some of us are forgetting the information that we had by the city attorney and some of the issue and risks that are involved in the litigation. We may end up there, but I think we took a very prudent course based on advice by the city attorney, based on the record. The city attorney doesn't just give us advice based on a whim. The city attorney gives us advice based on the solidity of the record and how it might look. Someone else with a set of fresh eyes looks at it. I believe we have the information that is available. If we want to ask a police commission member to come, I believe we can do that, but I believe that the record is clear, the advice that we've gotten is clear, and I believe that the vote for acting on this, as recommended by the police commission. Remember, we've had a lot of discussion in this city about the independence of the police commission, much of the Christopher Commission, much of the action under the consent decree, much of the action that we have done in terms of reforming this department is about the integrity and uplifting and enforcement of giving the police commission not just a rubber stamp commission capability, but the capability to be independent, to do the job that we ask of them. They have done this, they have done this again and again, and I think we ought not to subject individual police commission members to anything more than what we have asked of them publicly as a body, what they have done publicly as a body, and what every iteration of people who have looked at our city, how we run our police department, and how we uphold and support the integrity of the police commission. They have done what we have asked them to do with that judgment independently, not just willy-nilly, not just out of anger, but out of deep-seated understanding of what their process has been and what they were willing to support in their process. So again, I ask that we affirm their decision.
Mr. LeBron, did you still have some questions? There's nobody else in the queue. We're ready to vote.
Listos para un voto.
Okay. Well, he had asked me for another minute when he was up here a second ago. Okay.
Mr. President, what I'd like to continue one day and ask that a police commissioner come here and let us know to answer the articulated questions about this process, and that's fair one day. I know there was some who feel they want to go one way or the other because there's two opposing sides, but I think one day, since this process has been going long enough, we should get answers here. That's the only thing I ask for. I ask for an aye vote.
Okay. Mr. Zine, you're on the queue now, but I think we should vote on the continuance.
Well, I have a question regarding the availability of a police commissioner to come before us tomorrow. I know their meeting is today. They all have jobs in the real world, and what's the availability of a police commissioner to come before this body tomorrow?
Well, Councilmember, we could certainly take the request of the body to the commission, and I'm certain that they would make all their best effort to accommodate your request.
So we'll probably have somebody here, but there's no guarantee. That's the answer. So on the question of whether or not to continue, let's open the roll. Members, this is whether or not to continue for one day. Roll is open. Please close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
7 ayes, 7 noes.
Okay. So, Madam Clerk, next motion before us?
The matter before council is Councilmember Miskowski's motion to affirm the commission's award of the contract.
Okay, let's open the roll. Roll is open. All members have an opportunity to vote. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
8 ayes, 6 noes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 71 was called special by Councilmember Parks, and there is an amending motion that has been distributed to the council.
Mr. Parks, on item 71.
On the item 71, we just have a technical motion on changing the dates of the contract, and that's been circulated.
Any discussion on item 71? Seeing none, let's accept that amending motion without objection. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 95 was called special, and there is an amending motion on that item that was distributed to the council members, and I believe is technical in nature.
Okay, before we take up item 95.
I would just like to ask item 93 and item 70 go forthwith.
Forthwith on those items, 93 and 70. Bringing us to item 95, there has been an amending motion distributed. Any discussion? Mr. Labange.
Yeah, just say formation, please. Madam Clerk, thank you so much.
Okay, without objection, we have item 95 as amended. On item 95, let's open the roll on item 95 as amended. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on item 71 as well, please. Next item.
Mr. President, there is a special motion that has been presented by Councilmember Perry, and I believe the maker of the motion will be speaking to the findings.
Ms. Perry?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We were notified that the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority had not received money yet from the 2004-2005 budget, and the service providers have not been paid for 3 pay periods. If LASA does not receive the money immediately, the service providers will be forced to interrupt services, and obviously this will have an impact on our most needy population and cause some people to be back out into the streets and unfairly penalize LASA. This motion is technical in nature and will simply give housing the authority to expend the money that has already been allocated in the budget to LASA. So I hope that my colleagues vote yes today and support LASA and their partners and the good work that they do.
Any discussion on the findings? Seeing none, let's open the roll on the findings. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Findings are approved. Special one now before us. Discussion on the motion itself. We've heard from Ms. Perry. Seeing no further discussion, let's open the roll on special one. Close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Mr. President, do you wish to clear the desk before going into closed session?
Let's do housekeeping.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motion shall be posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Perry requests to be excused to leave at 10:30 on August 4th and to be excused August 13th. Those are both for city business, and they meet council policy.
Ms. Perry is excused.
Councilmember Miskowski requests to be excused Tuesday, September 14th to leave at 11:30 for city business. That meets council policy.
Ms. Miskowski is excused.
Councilmember Cardenas requests to be excused to arrive at 11:30 on August 4th for city business. That meets council policy.
Mr. Cardenas is excused.
Council President Padilla requests to be excused Wednesday, August 4th to leave at 11. A motion is required.
Mr. Zine moves. Thank you, Mr. Zine. Excuse granted. Next item.
Councilmember Garcetti requests to be excused Friday, August 13th to leave at 11:30. That meets council policy, and that's for city business.
Mr. Garcetti is excused.
Councilmember Labange requests to be excused Wednesday, August 11th for personal business. A motion is required.
Mr. Smith moves. Excuse is approved.
Councilmember Reyes requests to be excused August 17th, 18th, and 20th for personal business. Those meet council policy.
Mr. Reyes is excused.
Councilmember Weiss requests to be excused Tuesday, August 10th to arrive at 11 a.m. for city business. That meets council policy.
Mr. Weiss is excused.
Councilmember Cardenas requests to be excused Tuesday, August 10th, to leave at 11:30. That meets council policy.
Mr. Cardenas is excused.
And Councilmember Zine requests to be excused Friday, August 6th, for personal business. That meets council policy. And Tuesday, August 10th, for city business, a motion is required.
Ms. Perry moves. Mr. Zine is excused.
And that clears the desk.
Okay, Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. President. On that last item, I did, on the special one, I needed to ask for that to go forthwith.
That has been sent forthwith.
And that clears the desk for closed session.
Okay, colleagues, in conformance with California law, we will now adjourn into closed session. Sergeants, please clear the chambers. Welcome back into open session. Madam Clerk, next matter before us, please.
That clears the desk, Mr. President.
Okay, members, the desk is clear. Do we have any announcements today? Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, colleagues. I just wanted to read a brief note of thanks that goes out to our Department of Public Works. This comes from the Cardiff Court Owners Association. There was a letter they sent this morning. A relatively large tree in front of 3645 Cardiff fell into the street. The fallen tree posed a potential hazard both to pedestrians and automobiles on the street. The department was notified between 9:30 to 10 a.m. By 2:30 the same day, the tree had been completely removed, despite the fact that it was a Saturday. The two-person crew responded was polite, professional, and efficient. In a time of limited resources and increasing pressure on decreasing budgets, we are very appreciative of the department's prompt professional response in removing this tree. It was signed by Joseph Zimring. We want to thank Mr. Zimring for the kind letter and want to thank the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Street Services, and our Street Tree Division for doing a Class A job.
Thank you, Mr. Ludlow. Ms. Mizikowski, then Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I just want to announce something that I think we might all be announcing individually. Tonight is the 21st Annual Night Out, which is recognizing community and participation with the police department. And in every one of our 18 police stations, our 18 police divisions, one in each of the bureau, all of them in every one of the bureaus, is having an event, most of them in the evening, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, many of them starting at the police stations, and they include everything from Peace March to rallies, to open house barbecues, to candlelight vigils, music in the street, meet and greet. This is not only with the senior lead officers or just the captains, but the whole divisions are coming out and working with the community in each and every division. And so I ask one that you call your local police division, or if not, just come to the local police station, because I'm sure they'll be able to direct you to where a lot of activities will be occurring tonight. Community and police together, annual night out, a national celebration and annual recognition of the partnership between community and police that we all know is so vital in better providing law enforcement, safety, and security in all of our neighborhoods. So check with your local police, and I hope to see a lot of folks out there with our police officers throughout the city tonight.
It was Ms. Hahn next. And
Actually, I was going to do the same thing, and just
Okay.
to say it's a great opportunity for all of us to spend one evening really thanking our police officers who are out there on a daily basis. So I plan to be in several of my communities tonight, personally, thanking our officers for keeping our neighborhoods safe.
Great. Mr. Ludlow, Mr. Labange, and Ms. Gruhl.
Just forgot one other item. I want to congratulate the Department of Rec and Parks, John Muckery, who was out there today. But most importantly, I want to congratulate the LA Dodgers and the city of LA. We just acquired Hee-Sop Choi, a new first baseman, first Korean-born member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And there was a great event today at Seoul International Park. Great turnout from the community. But what was so wonderful about it was the LA Dodgers chose Seoul International Park right there at Normandy and Olympic, because that is one of the parks that they have adopted, and they're building a new Field of Dreams there. And so it's a great partnership between the LA City and the LA Dodgers. It was just great to see 6'5". They call him the Big Choi. So anyway, get ready to see this all-star first baseman.
And we lost Paula Duca in the process. Oh. We'll have to have a little talk with Mr. McCourt.
I know, really.
Call Howard Zucker.
That better not have been him. Mr. Lavange.
Oh, members, I just wanted to say it was 20 years ago this time that we celebrated the great Los Angeles Olympic Games of 1984, and there's been many stories in the paper about it, but it was really a great time for Los Angeles under the leadership of Tom Bradley, but also John Ferraro and Marvin Browdy, who voted the 8th vote necessary to award the games, because there was tremendous political pressure at the time, because it was soon after the Montreal Challenge, where Montreal overspent in '76, that we had an opportunity to bid. And it was a very tight vote, and John took the message of rescind the games that the Mayor Bradley had sent to the council, because it was the council who had to formally apply, and John in his wisdom put it in his desk drawer and held it for a few days as people were able to get back together and find a process to make it the public-private partnership. But all those involved, from Peter Uberoff on down, did such a wonderful job, and I just want to remark on that time. It was a great time for Los Angeles. I was fortunate to be with John all that time. Many of us in City Hall were going out to work on various venues in the Olympics, but John asked me to stay with him. We went to 24 Olympic events. John sat at the finish line with the diplomats, and I sat just before the finish line with the attachés and the drivers, and it was pretty good. And good luck to all those Olympians who are competing. I didn't hear that, Mr. Smith. Tough job. It was a good job. I want to thank Harry Usher, too. Remember his memory of Harry Usher for his work with Mr. Uberoff. And everybody was very special. At Pepperdine, that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. I, too, just wanted to add, as Ms. Misikowski and Ms. Hahn has said, that tonight are several events in my district, Sunland Tahunga, North Hollywood, Valley Village, where we'll be thanking our police officers and encourage all of our constituents, if you need to know where they're happening, please call my office in the Valley at 818-755-7676, and they'll let you know. Tom, Janice, and I are challenging you to see how many events we can actually go to tonight. I think Janice and I are going to...
Don't challenge Tom.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who came to the Central Avenue Jazz Festival this past weekend. Over the course of 2 days, we had over 20,000 people attend. I have a new seating arrangement, great support from the Cultural Affairs Department, from the Redevelopment Agency, and numerous private corporations lent their support to this event. I also want to say thank you to Jose and James from KKGO, who were our co-hosts this year. The performances were tremendous. Wendy and her baby and husband came down and enjoyed themselves on Saturday. And the vendors were very, very diverse and interesting. It was just a great, great event, and it's our 9th annual. Next year will be 10, and we're going to have a big anniversary party.
Bernard was there, too.
Was Bernard there?
Just chopped liver, that's all.
No. See, Bernard was dressed up in a costume he had on a zoot suit and a hat with a big feather in it, and I didn't recognize him.
Come next year.
Yeah, no, that's all right. No, you're not chopped liver. No, he was in costume, though. But actually, I'm making that up. He wasn't in costume.
I got there, too, Jan.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, Tom was there, too. Anyway, they
Thank
were
you,
all
Jan.
there, and he's chopped liver. But
Tremendous
anyway, it was a great
hospitality.
event, and thank you to Dunbar EDC also, and all the community-based organizations.
Other announcements? Announcements?
Oh, no.
If not, then would you all please rise for adjourning motions? Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's with great sadness that I unfortunately have a few adjourning tributes today. One is for Jesse Cohn. Maybe many of you know Mel Cohn, who we've worked with very closely on business tax issues. Died August 2nd, 2004 after a valiant struggle with cancer. Jesse was born in 1910 in Altoona, Pennsylvania, to Lithuanian immigrants, Samuel and Sarah Rittenberg. The family moved to Los Angeles, where Jessie attended school, worked, married, and raised her family. She was the beloved wife of the late Michael Cohn, Los Angeles Police Commissioner and partner in the law firm of Loeb & Loeb. and the adored mother of Mel and Barry, the dear mother-in-law of Wendy Cohn and Will Harrison, cherished grandmother of Elisa Alex Taub and Gary Cohn. She took delight in her two great-grandchildren, Lindsay and Jonathan Taub, who looked forward to playing with Grandma Jessie as a special treat. She delighted generations of her family and friends with her chocolate chip cookies, banana cakes, and sugar cookies. She also leaves one brother, Hillis, Miriam Rittenberg, and three sisters, Mimi Harris, Tybee Flaypen, and Gertrude Cousins, and many nieces, great-nieces, and great-nephews. She was loved by her family and many, many friends. They're asking that no flowers be sent, but instead a donation to the Executives, the Jewish Home for the Aging. So that I ask we adjourn in memory of Jessie Cohn. In addition,
Second on that.
thank you. Probably all members on that.
All members.
Bob Lannon. Bob was 59 years old when he passed away on June 17th from a long illness. He was very committed to his community and assisted Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council in several volunteer activities, including taking photographs and helping on special events. He graduated from the University of North Carolina, and after moving here, established a mentoring program at Hollywood and Universal City, North Hollywood, using alumni to assist graduates that moved to Los Angeles. He worked at Paramount Studios for 20 years in their syndication department. He was a quiet and oftentimes anonymous helper to the Sherman Oaks senior neighbors. He was a volunteer as well at the Ronald McDonald House and will be missed as a shining example of a caring person who acted selflessly to help those who needed assistance. Some others may be recognizing Ted Alexander today, and just want to, I'll make my comments, probably Mr. Parks or Ms. Perry do that, as well as, I know, Tom, you're going to make another announcement, and I will add to my comments then. Thank you.
Other tributes? Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I would like us to adjourn today in the memory of Rabbi Alfred Wolf, and such a terrific man and has such a great legacy. And I'm not going to certainly read this entire obituary that appeared in the LA Times today, but I would suggest that if you have an opportunity to read about his incredible life. But he served the Wilshire Boulevard Temple for 36 years and was known for creating summer camps for Jewish youth and was an international leader in combating racial, religious, and cultural prejudice. He passed away on Sunday. He was 88. Jack Smith, the late Times columnist, wrote that while declaring himself not religious, this is Jack Smith saying, "Even a pagan may be in need of spiritual advice, and I chose Rabbi Wolf because I know him to be a man of probity, learning, sound judgment, and spiritual reach." Smith was a guest at an ecumenical Seder presided over by Wolf. He really was remembered for creating these summer camps to encourage Jewish youth to embrace their religion, their history, and their culture. He was also dedicated to helping religious leaders get to know more about each other. In 1969, Wolf helped launch and served as founding president of the Interreligious Council of Southern California, bringing together Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, and Jews. And among their projects were planning interreligious services for the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics and lobbying city planners for placement of a mosque. He served 15 years on the Los Angeles County Commission on Human Relations and introduced Inter-Seminary Day at the University of Judaism in Los Angeles. During his long tenure in LA, he taught at USC, where he earned doctoral degrees, and at Hebrew Union College, Chapman College, Loyola University, and Cal State LA. Rabbi Wolf is survived by his son Dan, who was actually the press secretary to my father for many years. And he's also survived by his wife of 64 years, Miriam, another son, David, 4 grandchildren. And his services are scheduled at 11 a.m. This Wednesday at the Wilshire Boulevard Temple. He was a dear, dear friend of our families for a very long time. And his legacy certainly goes way beyond the Jewish community throughout Los Angeles County and really all of Southern California.
All members.
I also was just notified while I was sitting here this morning. This is very sad for me. I've had another small child killed in San Pedro. Andrew Angelus was only 10 years old, and he was hit by a car on Sunday, and he passed away yesterday after suffering serious head trauma. He's survived by his parent, Felipe and Rosa Angelus. It's very sad for us. We've lost 3 children in San Pedro in the last few years being hit by a car, so this is going to hit us hard again in our small community in San Pedro.
Mr. Labange.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Members, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Michael Joseph Reagan, who was a longtime city employee, great Los Angeles police officer, excuse me, for 24 years. He joined the police department just before World War II and was drafted, and they wanted to make him a military police officer because he was an LA police officer. And finally he got in a scuffle with some captain at a base, and they said, no, you're going to front lines. And he went into Europe and fought in the European theater, and in fact at one point led for the capture of 10 Germans in a battle single-handedly, with fooling them with his great way that Michael Reagan could. He served the city well as a police officer, and then for over 20 years was a member of our emergency services team. In fact, the first civil defense coordinator. And I remember in my early days working with Michael. I see Greg Smith acknowledging it when he was over in the CAO's office, when long before it was a Department of Emergency Service, Michael Reagan ran that function for us in the city of Los Angeles. Post his retirement, he was involved with the Los Angeles Police Historical Society and many activities in the Irish American community. And his wife of 49 years, Marjorie, has 3 wonderful sons, which are Michael, Dennis, and our very own Kevin Regan, who is our general manager for Recreation and Parks in the Valley region of Los Angeles Recreation and Parks. I was able to attend his funeral last week, and it was a great tribute to Michael, and we salute your family, Kevin, for the love your father gave to the city and everyone as a great city employee. I ask we adjourn in memory of Michael Joseph Reagan.
All members. Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know Wendy acknowledged this, and I know that Councilmember Parks is also going to, and I won't read his whole bio, but for many of us that have known Ted Alexander for years, I've personally known him for 16 years, very sad to hear of his death over the weekend. And I will just simply say that on a personal note, he was the person that actually helped get 2 of my children into magnet schools. I remember talking to him years ago, and I'd actually met him very early on at 24th Street Elementary School off of Western. And ever since that day, I've just always been amazed by Ted Alexander's graciousness. And for those of you that have had a chance to meet him, you know that he is an individual that has always operated under extreme pressure. And no matter how much the pressure has been, and I can't remember, I remember Sid Thompson, Zacharias, and Romer, those 3 superintendents. Councilmember Parks may remember superintendent before that. But through all that, he maintained such a calm, cool, collected demeanor, was always active in his community, always active in his national sorority, and just a tremendous loss. Just talked to him 3 weeks ago, and very saddened to hear of his passing. And so there's an incredible biography here that I won't read, as I know that I believe he did live in Councilmember Parks' district.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Dr. Theodore T. Alexander, affectionately known as Ted Alexander. He's Associate Superintendent, LA Unified School District. He was in charge of their specially funded parent and community program, which was responsible for major instruction for over 700,000 students with an annual budget of over $1 billion. He's a graduate of Darcy High School, received his bachelor's and master's degree from Cal State LA, a doctorate from USC. He often was interviewed nationally because of his involvement with many of the desegregation programs in the school district, and because of not only his honesty but his integrity as he related to many of these issues. He was viewed as a consensus builder, and he certainly placed the welfare and education of children on the front burner. He was the president of EduCare at USC, the president of the Council of Black administrators. He was active in Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. He was a USC chairman for the Merit Award Committee. Was also active in the Black Leadership Coalition, the NAACP, and the Westside Jewish Community Center. He passed away at the age of 67. He leaves his brother, Ken Alexander, retired LAPD officer, and his two sons, Theodore III and Mark Anthony, and his funeral services are being planned.
All members.
Yeah, all members. I just want to say I've worked with him over the years, too, as a superintendent, and what a tragedy for the city, because someone who worked so hard for young people in the school district and to get a 3-week illness and then to be gone. So I thank you for the memory of Ted Alexander and all the work he did for Los Angeles school children.
Ms. Gruhl?
I just want to add, too, I met Ted actually when I was in high school, and he is someone who was very helpful when we created LA's Best. He was someone even, that was there weekends and evenings and really above and beyond the call of duty. And he had so many friends across not only the city, but I think across this country. So add my condolences as well.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say a few words also about Mike Regan. I had the fortune of working with him over the years, and what most people don't recognize is that he was the head of our civil defense system back in the days when they had the sirens go off and things like that in the city, which eventually then became and morphed into our Emergency Operations Center, Emergency Operations Board, and our Emergency Preparedness Division department. And so Mike was really at the very ground floor of this and worked very closely with Hal Burnson and I on earthquake stuff. And I had a pleasure working with him. He was a very affable, fun guy to be around. Third or fourth generation LAPD, Kevin? Third generation. His cousin, Jim Dillinger, now works on my staff, was fourth generation, and his son is now the fifth generation LAPD, so it's a long tradition in the Regan family. And just a great guy to be with, and on behalf of my staff and my family, we wish you our condolences as well. I also asked the council to adjourn in the name of Bob Russell. Bob Russell is one of those very unique people that aren't very many around anymore, that joined up with George S. Patton in charge across Europe in the Third Army, liberating hundreds of thousands of people in World War II, helping relieve the besieged U.S. soldiers at Bastogne. He passed away on Friday. He came back and spent 59 years working with people in the United States for veterans' benefits and rights. He was president of the American Legion and an officer in the state of California American Legion. A good guy in the San Fernando Valley, and he passed away on Friday, and we send our condolences to his family. Thank you.
Other final tributes? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned.